Welcome to the Dillman Live Podcast, where we question the history and mysteries of the past while exploring people and stories from around the world. Join us as we delve into everything from hidden treasures and ancient secrets to the unexplained phenomena capturing our imaginations. Ladies and gentlemen, we are worldwide broadcasting. It's Dan Dillman, and tonight I've got an amazing guest, which you can probably hear talking in the background, Roger Cultee, and it looks like Colleen may not be making it with us tonight, but let us know if anyone is here in the chat, so to speak. If you have a question tonight, make sure to put a Q in front of your question. That will give us the signal that you guys are here and have a question. And I already see Nicholas and Snot right on. Thank you, brothers, for being with us. Like I said, tonight we've got a super special guest, Roger Cultee, Re-Indigenizing Minds. Tonight is all about re-indigenizing your mind. And I want to kick off the show by saying this simply. We are all indigenous. Every race, doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown, Asian, it doesn't matter. We are all indigenous. And of course, the wisdom from my brother Roger, we were having this discussion yesterday for pre-show. So it's important that we set that tone. We are all at our source, our origin, indigenous. But we have fallen away. We have lost the way, and there have been few who have been holding it down for us, for all of us who haven't had that culture, that history saved within our communities or within our tribes. And Roger is that guy, and Colleen as well. We wish he was here, but Roger, welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah, man, honored and privileged to have you here, brother.
I'd like to thank you for even allowing us to present an indigenous perspective to our culture and our history here, because we really have no other outlet for getting our side of the story out. The anthropologists and the archaeologists, or which I call anthropologists, the ghouls that dig up the dead, and the anthropologists, the glamorous garbage collectors who dig up our trash that are so ancient you don't know how old the trash is. But they have no understanding of the cultural basis of who we really are.
Well,
you can collect video in the world, but until you actually talk to the people. So I'm going to tell you about one problem I've been facing. That's why I came out of the woodwork. There's non-native Indian experts, and I'm not going to mention names, that are speaking to other non-native Indian experts about natives, but don't bother to talk to us natives ourselves, which to me is the root word for racism, when you're ignoring a whole race of people and their cultural perspective and not allowing it in. I mean, there's no other word for it except for racism and academic racism, because they won't allow the native perspective in. We only get the colonial view. The colonial view isn't who we really are. It's what the colonialists want us to be. Good little Indians. Woo, 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 woo. We're going to behave, assimilated, and all those other dirty words that make my mouth go, manifest destiny, and all the other colonial nonsense that goes with it. I'm going to ask the non-natives out there, if we turn the table around like you do on us, and I'm the anthropologist talking to a non-native that's here in America, and I was turning the table around, and you're in my position for once. Does the average American know what country they really come from? Does the average American know what clan they're associated with? Does the average American know their language they originally spoke before they came here? Does the average American know their origin stories before they came here? Do the non-natives know their indigenous stories before they came here? The answer is a big N-O.
Yeah, I would bet a majority of people would have to honestly answer no. I think some of our listeners probably are a little more versed in their history than the
Oh,
general
open
public.
minded. When you're open minded.
That's what I would hope at least.
But
And even me, Roger, you know, I have indigenous blood, born with 6 fingers in each hand. My grandmother from Michoacan, Mexico, was of Aztec and Mayan descent, but my other half of my family, my mother's side of the family, was from Cuba and Spain, and even some Middle East. My grandfather on that side says so. But the point is I even missed out. Now I had my grandfather and uncles who absolutely shared so much history and stuff with me, but still, there are those like me who have lost connection truly to my other brothers and like yourself with the ancient wisdom, with the
before you
oral
were
history.
Azteca, before you were Azteca, you were the Mexica tribe.
Yes.
That's not re-indigenizing. Because Azteca was made by the Spaniards after they arrived to what they wanted to call you people. Cultural
Yeah.
misidentification. When you're really Mexica, well, they want to call you an Aztec. You know, when you're really a Lakota, they want to call you a Sioux. You know, when you're a Tono Autumn, they want to call you a bean eater, a Papago. You know, this is cultural misidentification they're doing on every one of our tribes where they have a second name for us. That's the colonial name for us. But the original names that we have, you know, the Mexica, like I was saying earlier, the root. But
And you know
all
what? And you bring up a valid point, and I will make a conscious effort to start actually speaking that way. I may need to let people know what the heck I'm talking about because so many have been taught the wrong way, as even I. But I am fully aware of being Mexica, and and my spirit hears you and resonates with. Even I must. I know Montezuma. We should be calling him Moctezuma, and there's probably even a deeper
yeah.
name, we should be calling him. So I will, from this day forward, do my best to try to be re-indigenized in my mind and speak the way of Roger and others.
Well, it's kind of important because re-indigenizing is not, you know, running around and going to a powwow and being in this and that. Really, what re-indigenizing means is going back to when you were in your natural state, when you followed the natural laws of the universe, and when you were, you know, following stars and the constellations. I mean, the Christians don't even realize that they're even doing it today, even in their Bible. You know, you got what, 12 apostles and one Jesus. You got 12 tribes of Judah. You got 12 zodiacs and the sun going through it. You got 3 wise men, which represent Orion's bell. And the whole Bible is talking about the journey of the sun through an entire year till it gets to the 23rd, where it's a solar standstill. And for 3 days, it stands still. And on the 25th, it rises and goes the other way. Even the Christians don't realize that their Bible is still nature based. They just kind of lost the touch of, you know, the meaning of what is in their book. I
Yeah.
mean, take it
I,
literally.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Bible is encoded with so many different levels of information that so many people don't know. They just take the literal translation and that's it. And they're missing the biggest parts of it, like you just alluded to right now.
And like
Um,
Enoch and those people that they left out of the Bible, they threw them out.
right.
But he's the one guy that still had 13 and 28 and the same numbers that we used when he was a Sumerian. But and they threw it out, and now everything went to the dirty dozen where it's all 12. You know, we are making
Right.
fractions and decimals and headaches.
Yep. We've got some people joining us. I want to give shouts out to them for coming on. We've got, like I said, Nicholas, James is here, Zen Wen Roth. I know you guys. Thanks for joining. Like I said, I Snot. and yeah, James was here as well. So I just want to give a shout out to those folks and others who haven't rang in. Remember, if you end up having a question tonight, your mind is going to be expanded. It's going to be re-indigenized because Roger is speaking so much cosmic truth, so much ancient wisdom that he has to share. And I want to stop talking now because I want you
I want
touched
to thank
it.
everybody that's here right now, because anybody that's here was intended to be here by spirit, in my mind. Like where I'm at on my YouTube channel, I lost the thing about being the best rated YouTube channel or with the most zillion hits or the most million subscribers. What's more important to me is preserving and protecting. And I only have like 200 something subscribers in my YouTube channel. But it doesn't bother me, because those are the people that were intended to hear what I have to say. Those are the people that are open-minded enough to listen to what I have to say. So, if anything, it's everybody else that's missing out, except those 200 that are, listening to me on my channel.
They're the ones who are ready and who have heard the call, so to speak, and whose souls, and minds are open to receiving this knowledge because, and we can't blame them, whoever they are. We can't blame them for not knowing necessarily. I mean, you could blame them, but really, there's been so much misinformation or so much of his story being told, meaning the Spanish, when they conquered, they were, or I don't even like to say conquered, but, their story, their history, the history of even, you said it. I don't want to take from you. Christopher Columbus did not discover America.
Because the children of the La Roña, their mother is crying for them. The mother is the earth, because they lost their culture. That's the children of the La Roña. The metaphor, which I don't think the Hispanics or the Chicanos really understand. It's a reference to them losing their culture. And the mother's crying because she lost her children. And who's that? That's the mother goddess of the Mexica.
Right.
What do you call the earth goddess? Starts with an M. God, I got so many words in my brain. But the feminine goddess and the feminine creative energy, they turned her into Our Lady Guadalupe eventually. But
right.
It wasn't that originally at the beginning. I think it was Tunetsin or something like that, if I remember right. I remember.
Yep. And you were talking about 13, and because I think it's important that hopefully it didn't go over people's heads, and especially for those who may be watching this show after it's over. You mentioned the 12 and the 1, or the 13. You have 12 disciples in Jesus. You've got 13 zodiacs. Many people don't know what you know, that there are 13 zodiac signs, not 12.
13 objects that are going out there too, including the sun and the moon in that. I'm going to have to let my cat out. They're crying. I'll be right back.
Okay, no problem.
So they don't want to hear me.
So folks, what Roger is going to share with us tonight, probably, I would imagine some of these things nobody has ever heard, because Roger is the keeper of some pretty ancient native wisdom and teachings. And so, we're excited. Nicholas says, people spoke of the Leona lady in Belize when I lived there. And what's up, Bob G? Want to give a shout out to Bob G. He just joined us as well. So we're talking, I don't want to direct this. I want you to be natural and wherever you want to go with this, Roger. But did you want to touch a little bit for those,
I was going to say back to what I was saying a little earlier about anthropologists and archaeologists and turning the table and asking them questions about their culture. My end point was that how could we, as Native people, allow people to try to tell us our culture if they don't know their own culture, which has really been bothering me. And the other thing that is bothering me is that as we speak, our culture is slowly being erased and being replaced with this colonial version, which isn't us at all. It's just the version they would like us to be. And my main reason I came out was because when Ancient Aliens came on, and they were giving credits for aliens for our ancient ancestors' hard work of building people, places like Teotihuacan, Machu Picchu, Tiwanaku, and then to give the credit to some alien from outer space. What they did to the people in Zimbabwe. They discovered these megalithic structures in Zimbabwe 100 years ago, and they gave credit to Solomon, to every European country that was up north. It wasn't until 100 years later they finally admitted it was the local Zimbabwean people that built it. The local indigenous people built that. But it took 100 years of going through every European imaginable that may have built that or helped them build it because they think we don't have a brain.
Yeah. So what Roger is saying, I'm just going to reiterate it because it's the truth. It's something that those of you that are my followers have heard me say. I am sick and tired of the narrative being that the natives here were savages, unintelligent beasts. And a lot of that stuff was used to justify what was going on. The reality is, and I love how Roger has put a few of these comments to me, has given me new thoughts about it. And one of those is simply that these ancient sites. I like Ancient Aliens. Heck, I was on an episode, and I really appreciate the work those guys are doing just to bring awareness to certain sites. But he is correct. The natives were more intelligent than us. So we sit back and say we couldn't have done that. Modern man says we couldn't have done that. So they say, of course, well, then the natives could have never done it. No, the natives had the technology. The natives could use sound and frequencies and levitate and help. And their technology, whether that be, it wasn't maybe a computer, but it was technology that was activating atoms and quantum mechanics and all these things were theorizing, I believe, and I would imagine that Roger knows this to be true, that they had technology. They had the know-how. They were capable of building these sacred ancient sites and temples and didn't require. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Nope, I'm quiet now. Your turn.
Okay, I was going to say that even Graham Hancock, who's looking for a lost civilization on this ancient apocalypse, I'm going to bring big news. The only lost civilization out there is the modern one. I'm right here. I'm not lost. I have all the information that's right behind me of what we have here. The only one that's lost is modern man. And the reason they're lost because they don't bother to talk to us natives. They're too busy being in this echo chamber talking to each other about us, but they never talk to us. And this is echo chamber that's going back and forth, back and forth. And us native people are on the side going, oh, do we ever get a voice in any of this? Do we ever can put our elbow in to say something? Or
yeah. Well, I can.
They're telling in the world, telling us who we are.
Yeah. I can only apologize for myself, man, because it's been bull crap. It's been completely bull crap, and everyone for a while, as you know, the world was on a kick of politically correct. Well, they never came correct for the natives. Period. And hopefully, what you're doing, what I'm doing, is helping to change that and awaken people's minds. I love what you said to me yesterday when you said, "Hey, the Americas wasn't discovered in 1492." What did you say? How did you put it to me?
I said all of those people that claim to have discovered America are all totally wrong because with my chart, I could show that we were over all the way into Nan Madol, Polynesia, Angkor Wat, which is the Yellow Man, to Mumbai, India, the Indian civilization, all the way to Memphis, Egypt, the Black Man, and up through the Mediterranean to Tangier, Morocco, and Tripoli, where the white man was at. Technically, we discovered the other three races. They need to cut out this Christopher Columbus, Viking, Templar, St. Brandon nonsense that they're putting out there. And they're always trying to claim that they discovered us, but we never turned around and actually said that, maybe it's our turn to say, maybe we discovered you 1,000 years ago. That's
Yes.
how the charts go back to.
Yeah.
And wow.
and and I laugh, but I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it is funny, but it's not. It's so serious. But I laugh because you have presented it, even to me. I'm letting you know, I'm going to start telling people this as well, sharing pretty much your thought that, hey, nobody you couldn't discover the Americas. It was already here, and the natives were already here. But in fact, the natives had already, through trade and other things, had already been going everywhere in the world and going to rediscover or discover those lost brothers and sisters
They're
from the.
discovering Australian DNA and the natives in South America. And my charts go all the way through Papua New Guinea to New Zealand and to Australia and all the way across to Easter Island and over there. I mean, I got so many things on my chart that would answer a lot of these mysteries that modern man thinks are mysteries. You're from San Francisco, right?
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so technically East Bay, more Oakland, San Leandro, Hayward.
And then to the east of you, then you're aware of the California Mystery Wall.
Yes, of course. Yeah, up in the East Bay Hills. Absolutely.
Follow that wall all the way up to the top. It goes straight up to the Columbia River where I'm from, and it goes all the way down to the south, and it's a line to Easter Island. There's no more mystery.
Wow, man. And I can't believe for the life of me, you mentioned the East Bay Wall. I've even gone up there not too long ago just to do some cursory research, and it blows me away. They have not, as far as I know, nobody has even gone to truly investigate, whether it be archaeologists or anyone. They want to leave it a mystery. And when they do that, it makes me think that it's because the evidence and information to be revealed because it changes history.
Colonialists have a habit of cherry picking what they want and taking what they don't want out and send it to the Smithsonian. If you want something hidden and covered up, send it to the Smithsonian. That's a great place I'm thinking. But
Wow.
most of the time, it's cherry picked. Cherry
Yeah.
picked what they want only us to believe. Even if they find great discoveries, they're not going to tell us. Like I know they discovered indigenous DNA in China and Russia in ancient sites there already. But it's been over 10 years and they still haven't released the DNA result because they're too worried because we're not white. I mean, can't help it, I mean, it's born this way. But, our DNA is being found in ancient China, ancient Russia, all the way up into the areas up there, probably where the big other wall is at.
Yeah,
Gornaya,
the great wall of China. Yeah, and that's because because it just once again it proves that the natives were way ahead of everyone else. They were already traveling to these distant areas of the world, engaging, trading. And so, that doesn't work well for the narrative that these guys were savages and unintelligent. Why they couldn't get across the ocean? They can't go, build monuments. So it doesn't work for them. But guess what? That whole idea is done and shattered. That paradigm is no more because people like you, brothers like you, are bringing this information to the world. We've got a couple questions from some folks. If you don't mind, we'll just I'll read them off to you. So let me make sure who was first here. We got a comment from one person saying "Viva Aztlan." That's a comment. Nicholas, ancient civilizations, evidence everywhere. Now, Snot has a question. He says, was there originally 13 months consisting of 28 days coinciding with the feminine? And this is a part of what you're going to be showing us later. But did that?
Well, I could do the four inner planets real quick. That'll explain to him the 13. 13 times 9 is 117 days, which is synodic orbit of Mercury going around the sun. 13 times 45 is 585 days. That's a synodic orbit of Venus as it goes around the sun. And here's your 13 times 28, which makes 364 plus 1 makes 365, which is an Earth year. But there's also another one, which is 27 times 13, which makes 351 days, which can be used to predict solar and lunar eclipses. And then you got 13 times 60, which makes 780 days. which is the synodic orbit of Mars. You could do that to all the planets, to Pluto, and to objects beyond. But I hope I answered this 13. You know, and you're about right about the feminine energy, because that's what all this drone activity is about. The feminine energy is coming into the earth, and they're sending drones up trying to figure out what's going on with these egg shaped and these orbs that are flying around. It all has to do with divine feminine energy because we need it. The masculine energy is leading us to a nuclear war.
Amen. Amen. It's amazing to me, because I start thinking, since I was a kid, I've always heard, 13 is an unlucky number. They were throwing taboo on the 13, which is ridiculous. Because
when you were a Templar, they burned you on Friday the 13th. But we're not Templars.
Yeah, because the reality is 13 is a sacred number used for this ancient wisdom and sacred knowledge.
It's the key to the universe.
Love it. We got another question. I just want to get these while they're here for you. Do you think there were ancient Hebrews that came here to the Americas? So someone is asking you that question.
More than Hebrews. Everybody in the world besides us going to do global trade on that side, there were people coming from that side of the world just as much coming here as well. I mean, much as they're freaking out about Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, they should be freaking out more about natives in Egypt. But I can tell you for a fact, Phoenicians were here, Egyptians were here, and how do I know the Egyptians were here? Well, you take 3.25 times 9 makes 29.25 north. 29.2 north is location for the mouth of the Nile. 29.25 north is also the location for the mouth of the Colorado River. They have the same number for the same mouths of the rivers. If they knew that number, it's just a matter of just going in a straight line to that other number. And that's going to that number over here, and you're in Egypt. From Egypt, you're over here. I mean, these numbers.
Amazing.
And 3.25, I hate to tell people out there, modern man doesn't even have the right pi yet. I mean, we're supposed to be the cavemen that couldn't invent the wheel, and we have the right pi, and they don't. I mean, seriously, has anybody found a use for modern pi after you got out of high school? Have you figured out what to use it for once you graduated? Has anybody in the world put a use to that modern pi? The 3.17, I just don't know. I haven't figured out any use for it because it's a fictional number. My 3.25 that I just pointed out, it could point you out geographical locations on the globe. Like 3.25 times 8.5, which gives you 27.625 south, the latitude for Easter Island.
Wow.
Someplace I think is in the middle of nowhere that nobody can locate. I can.
Yeah, and so what Roger is talking about, everyone, which we're going to get to, is that he holds the ancient wisdom, ancient maps or routes and technology or technique in which to follow and find all of these places. He is the keeper. Matter of fact, Roger, tell us about tell me kind of your origin, at least when it comes with your grandfather. I don't know if I mean, are you okay with us? Me bringing that up, asking who was your grandfather, because I asked you the other day. I was like, hey, who taught you this stuff? Where'd you get this knowledge from? And so if you can speak about your grandfather and how you came carrying this knowledge.
I even have this picture if you want to share a screen, is an image of him. Does that share screen work on here?
I don't know. You can give it a whirl and see if that does work. I've never had anyone share the screen from their end. If we have any problems, just reconnect with me if we get disconnected.
I think I better just talk because I might end up doing something wrong, and I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll give you a history about who I am. My name is Roger Cultee. And I was born in a place called Tahola, Washington, which is right about 2 or 3 miles north of the Point Grenville area. Port Grenville was our local place for dance and celebration and for trade because we had a beach there. The Spaniards landed there and wanted us to build a church and I guess the Hail Mary and all of that stuff. And we didn't really go along with it, and we rounded them up and we ate them. After that, the Spaniards named the place the place of the martyrs in Spanish. You know, and I don't know what it means. They call it in Spanish. It's not what we call it, but anyway, we're one of the few tribes that was able to defeat the conquistadors when they arrived. My mother's side of the family and Destruction Island took care of the other conquistadors on Destruction Island. So my mother's side of the family ate the other conquistadors on an island. So we have a different story than the other tribes that were below us that, were kind of annihilated by them. Well, back in about 1850, 1860, my great-great-grandfather, Charles Cultee, if you search engine him up, though, you can see his image, worked with a guy named Franz Boas. Franz Boas was this famous anthropologist that created the whole anthropology department. My great-great-grandfather was his translator and interpreter, and he had to initiate him into our tribe in order to tell him the sacred knowledge that he did know. And then my great-grandfather was Clatsop Nehilim. Nehilim is just another name for the people that live in Tillamook. Tillamook and Nehilim are the same people, really. Clatsop are the people that live at the mouth of the Columbia River. They united about 100 years ago, so Clatsop Nehilim is now the name of the tribe because they united into one group now. So my great-great-grandfather was Clatsop Nehilim of the Chinook Nation. Then you say, who's the Chinook Nation? Well, the Chinook Nation had a vast trade network that stretched all the way across the Americas. Not only that, but also in the 1800s, people don't know this, but American, British, and Russians used my grandfather's Chinookan jargon for trade in Canada and Alaska. And the Chinook jargon was so well used that it was even used in Beijing, China, where my Northwest Coast people went over there to trade for, Chinese coins and things from China, because the coins we used for armor, which they had nice little holes so you could put it on there and you could have a bulletproof vest by using all these Chinese coins. And we were trading with the Chinese already, and so they knew the Chinook jargon too. So my grandfather, he preserved in a book form the Chinook jargon and the Chinook legends and stories. I don't like calling them legends. They're really oral history, because legends and myth kind of demeans really what we're trying to put across. So it
I
should
agree
really
with
be
you.
oral history is really what it is.
Yep.
So my great-great-grandfather laid down the oral history in book form, and then I guess he did about 2 or 3 books along with Franz Boas on the culture of the Chinooks. But my great-great-grandfather, he was the last map keeper like what I'm doing right now. But he was doing this in the 1860s when it was being lost. I'm at the other end where I'm reviving it and trying to bring it into a renaissance. I feel bad for him because he was trying to preserve this at a time when being native wasn't popular. And if you're trying to do native things, usually you ended up getting burned at the stake, thrown in prison, or something. It got so bad, they extinct my great-great-grandfather's tribe in a court of law. I mean, I'm a fictional person. I'm just your imagination, because my bloodline is supposed to be in the court of law extinct because they wanted the resources. So they extincted my great-great-grandfather's tribe. They barely got their tribal status back 10 years back, but it took over 150 years to do it.
That's crazy, man. That's it breaks my heart on one hand. It gets me emotional. It gets me upset because I don't, I just, it blows me away, the cruelty, the cruelty, man.
We've been sugarcoating history and pandering to the tourists too long. I mean, it's nice to be polite and all that, but sometimes you got to be assertive, with a capital ASS. You don't have to be rude. You just say, will you please get off my fucking toes?
Right.
Still being polite about it, but you're still getting your
Yes.
point across. But we're too polite. We've been polite since for the last 533 years, and that's why we're in the predicament we're in. We're losing
Right.
our culture because we're allowing foreigners to define who we are. And that's where I feel it's gone wrong. I mean, can I define what a white man is? Or would they even allow me to?
You can
If
do
I did,
whatever you want. You're
it's
free. You're
treaty time.
it's yeah, it's good stuff. It's sad. It's sad, but I'm glad to know. So it was 150 years they had wiped out the existence of your tribe.
Yeah, we couldn't even do a potlatch until the 1950s. We didn't get citizenship until 1978. Now they're taking it away again. So we were only citizens since 1978 until Trump decides that he's going to make us illegal aliens. I wonder if they told us to
I
his
hope
golf
not.
course. Maybe all us Indians will be at this golf course.
we'll show up. We'll show up. Say, hey, check it out. This golf course is native land, brother. You're gonna give it. You're gonna give it back, man. You're gonna. What is the word they've been using for a while?
They're going to deport me where I come from. What are they taking
Well, that's it. That's it.
But
They
that's how
can't.
silly they're getting. They actually think they're in my place. The white politicians believe that they're me and my people, and they want to assume my rights. But
Yeah.
533 years don't cut it to 300,000 years.
Right. Right. And that's a reality. I think that America should deal with, should realize. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I've got the solution for it, but I think even an apology can be a nice beginning. I think that starting
Maybe
to
a start.
rec huh
Yeah,
it'd
be
be
a
the
start.
start. Yes. And knowing that there have been wrongs done, but we
Still
find
are.
ourselves where we yeah, right, we find ourselves where we are, and what can we do today to make up for it, man. that
I mean,
that
I'm
now
losing
that
the citizenship as we speak, which is really sad. And they already threw out 1 million Navajo votes from the last selection. I mean, this is getting serious now. Like, uh, I'm now to the point where they're going to deport us to a concentration camp. I don't know what plans they have, but
yeah, well, let's not.
I'm
I hope not.
nervous.
I,
Ooh,
I I hope that's yeah, I hope that's not the case. I hope that you know I would hope, and this is just me speaking, I would hope that the folks that are killing and raping and whatnot are out of here, and folks that are wonderful people are left alone. And I'm hoping that there's some middle ground somewhere. But with,
and the
with
knowledge I have up here, what I'm going to be showing, it's going to prove our Aboriginal title that we're here a lot longer than 13,000 years. To be honest with you, we didn't go walking across the Bering Strait. We're canoe people. Why the hell walk on land if you got a canoe? I mean, people consider that not all Indians are landlubbers. Our world was the ocean. Our world was the sea. The land just got in the way. But they don't think of that. The Northwest Coast tribes that lived along the coast, the water was our world. And the Polynesians, the water is their world as well. The New Zealand, the water is their world. Australian, the water is their world. We all have that in common. We don't look at the world being land. We look at the world being water.
amen to that one. Amen to that one. Yeah. Let's talk about the 260-day count. I mean, do we want to get into that? Do we want to get into starting to share some of
Well, I'm going to do one little thing I want to tell people before I get started on the charts over here. It's with your 260. And if you want, you can even follow if you got a pencil or a pen or a paper nearby or newspaper or whatever, you can scratch it on in there. Because you're going to find out that these numbers do add up. The first one, and I'm not cursing anyone because all empires that I've studied have a life of 260 years. Maya, Toltec, doesn't matter. Spanish, American, Anasazi. Chocolate didn't last more than 260 years either. Now you take 1776. What number is that to? The birth of America.
Yes.
Now you plus 260 days, 260 years to that 1776. So 1776 plus 260 years will give you 2036. 2036 is the last year of our 468-year hell cycle that started in 1519. And then on 2037 is the year one reed, which is the first year of the 676 heaven cycle that we haven't seen, almost in 1,000 years. That's coming up in 2037. And 2037 in one reed, it's also prophesized that Quetzalcoatl is going to return. The spirit of the ancients are coming back, basically what it means.
Yeah, and it falls in line, to me at least, it falls in line with this cosmic cycle, right? Because they were here before. Quetzalcoatl has come before, right?
Yep.
And he is coming again, and we are at this cosmic cycle that, it's so interesting to me to be at that 250 year or 260 years of the founding of this nation. And I agree with you. Many of these civilizations have risen and fallen within the 200 to 300 time period, 200 to 300 year time period. But we're also on this greater cycle right now, that the cosmic cycle of moving from Pisces into Aquarius. You're going to get into it, I'm sure, 52-year cycles, their significance.
Put in something while you're saying this.
Do it.
It's bigger than what you can imagine. What we're coming to in 2036 and 37 is the end of a 520,000 year cycle. And the first 260,000 year cycle was the first race of man, and which is the remnants we're finding today in these megalithic structures. We're the second race of man that lived on the second 260,000 years of the cycle. Since the beginning of creation, it's coming back to our going home in 2036 on a 520,000 year journey.
Wow,
it's
man.
Bigger than what can people imagine. They're worried about 2012. That's little peas compared to what's coming up on this 520,000 year cycle.
And that reminds me of of India in the Vedas, right? Because they talk about some of the cycles. They're the ones who I know have talked about those cycles, and clearly, as you told me, as we said to each other in the beginning the other day, is everyone, all races were a part of this original family. The great creator, the great spirit created us all, and then hey, went separate ways and forgot about each other, forgot that we were family.
But then we came back to America, and we're supposed to remember. That's why everybody came back.
But that's why I have hope. Well, and that's why I will hold out hope for us. I have to hold out hope that we are headed for a golden age that transcends any golden age a politician has spoken about, but a real one that is true unity, that takes us, into the promised land, really a returning to what we had in the beginning.
And here's another 260-day number. You take 260 and you times it by 2, which makes 520. Now you take 1492, when Columbus, so-called discovered America. You add 520 years to that, it takes you to 2012, which was the year that everybody was freaking out on. 2012 is the year when that cycle is going to repeat itself, which means new people will arrive again from 1492 to 2012. And what does that mean? You add 13 years to 2012, it takes you to 2025. What's going on in 2025? Informal contact. What's been going on? All this drone and activities with UFOs since last November till even now. It's going to continue because this is the informal contact year. Then you take 2025 and you add 13, it takes you to 2038. Formal contact.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because since you've opened up the conversation here, talk to me about your ancient teachings, what you know, because you just said, hey, 2025 soft contact or whatever the term you just used. We know, huh?
Informal contact.
Informal contact. And so talk to me a little bit about what oral history, prophecy, however you want to term it.
I'll connect it into 13 because everything you want to know that's on 13, right?
Sure.
1952, there was a UFO wave over Washington, D.C. It was so big that they had to call the Air Force out to chase those guys out of there. So you take 1952, you add 13 years, it takes you to 1965. In 1965, there was a UFO wave over the American Midwest. You take 1965, you add 13 to that, takes you to 1978. 1978, there was a UFO wave over Italy. Then you take 1978 and you put 13 to that, it takes you to a number called 1991. You might recognize this one. The largest UFO sighting in the world happened over Mexico City during the eclipse of the sun.
I remember that.
1 times 13, it takes you to 2004, the Tic Tac incident. And then you take 2004, you add 13, takes you to 2017, the Oumuamua comet that just went by. They're all based on 13s.
On cycles of 13. And then I remember Colleen said yesterday, the sun every 13 years, I guess.
13 days.
13 days, sorry.
13-day cycle, solar cycle.
So this magic number, I call it the magic number, the mystical number, 13 is like you said, it is the key.
To the universe.
Yes. Amazing. So what do you have any insight? I'm sure a lot of the viewers may want to know. What's your insight? Why are they visiting? Why are they revisiting? I have my ideas, but what do you say from your perspective? What's going to unfold? Why the soft contact? What is unfolding?
It's the people from our ancient future. And what I mean by ancient future, we only got about 13,000 years of written history. Does anybody wonder whatever happened before that time? Those millions and millions and millions of years that there might have been this other race of people that I just referred to. And I know from my elders, they told me that the world before this one, the technology that was there is more advanced than anything we have today. And this was a tonal autumn elder that didn't even hardly speak English was telling me this. The world before this one, we had technology that was more advanced than anything we see today. Whoa. But when you talk to natives, they'll tell you these things. But when you're only talking to non-native, you're just an echo chamber to whatever their misinformation, disinformation, lies, whatever they want to be. But it's not the truth, I can tell you that.
Right. And so I want to make sure that I understand you correctly. It is us, it is our ancient selves, the ones who were on the planet previously. Some of us left the planet with the tech in that era, that epoch, whatever we want to call it, that world, that life, and they left. And of course, to go, whether it be to maybe planets they originally came from before coming to Earth, and then are coming back.
Long time ago, because the Anasazi had learned how to move the stars. And now there's things that they say that there's a thing moving a star that's a structure around it. And this is from them, they had so much power that they could move stars. Now, if you have enough power to move a star, there's no reason why you couldn't go into a portal and come at another location in the past and come out here. A lot of the entities that they think are aliens and all of that, I'm not saying all of them, but there's a good portion of them that are Kachinas and Yebiches. There's these ancient entities that have been here all along. But everybody's looking for, Eddie Torres, the ET, the extraterrestrial guy. But they're not considering that some of these might be ancient entities that are returning. A lot of it is the ancients are returning back to this world. And the veil between them and us is slowly dissolving. And that's why we're starting to see all these things that we never noticed before, because we're going to a part of space that we haven't seen in 520,000 years. Those UFOs aren't coming to us. We're going to them.
Wow. Yeah, that is powerful, man. That is powerful. I'm a true believer in the portal technology that the ancients
Star
have
people.
had. Huh?
Star people.
Yeah, that the star people have had and are using today. There's been moments in time. I think it was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. I think Obama was president. Was he? I think he was president. But he was going to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. You remember this? And
Yeah.
over Norway, when the president of the United States is flying into Norway to receive his Nobel Peace Prize, there was a marvelous blue spiral that showed up in the sky. Now, of course, the mainstream media tried to say, oh, it was a rocket. Matter of fact, they said it was a Russian rocket that was fired in the airspace at the time, and that's what we were witnessing. In no way do I believe that. I fully, I don't even want to say I believe. I know that was a portal and that was opened up, and that they must have been going to where these world leaders were. And one of the star people was showing up to speak with the other leaders of the world at this conference, at this Nobel Peace Prize. And another reason how I know it's not Russia, just to share this with everyone, is if Russia fired a missile in the airspace of the United States of America's president of the United States flying, that's an act of war. You know, so they should have thought about their misinformation before they went and shared that. It's just ridiculous. So anyway,
Montana saw things when he was the president in his day. They not only were the things like flying in the sky like fireballs and comets, but if you read their stories from that conquest at that time, from their perspective, they'll tell you that an object hovered over their lake. They know the difference between something that's celestial and an object and all that. They specifically said it hovered over their sacred lake. What
right.
can hoover?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And so what do you think? What have the elders told you that is going to unfold, and how do they? What part do they play in humans' history in this coming time? Are they coming to help us? Are they coming to?
They're here at a last-ditch effort because, like I told you, the masculine energy is out of control. And when the masculine energy is out of control, I guess when men have their periods or go into the period moments like women do, we tend to go to war. Where women, when they have their period, they bite the bullet and they put up with it. But us men, we're not like that, man. We'd rather go out and kill each other over it because of our menopause, because of our men period. So I'm convinced the feminine energy here is trying to switch the channel to a more gentler version of how the world should be operating than the way we're going right now. I mean, right now we're having, religions that are fighting over gods. You're killing in God's name. There's a thing that says, thou shalt not kill in the Quran and in the Bible. And if you're killing over God, my God's bigger than your God, that's not a good reason for the rest of us to die.
Yeah.
Not a good reason for animals to die.
Right.
I mean, over, my God's bigger than your God. My God's the right one and yours is the wrong one. Yeah.
Ignorance.
You know what God is to the white man? Gold. Oil. Drugs. God. Gold, oil, and drugs. Modern man's real God.
Wow.
Their religion is science and their savior is technology. That's how bad it's gotten.
Yeah. So connected.
We've got to go back to the natural things,
Yeah. So connected, we're disconnected. We're so connected digitally. We're disconnected.
Yeah, so
We're
a
at,
monkey tail, with that cable coming out of it, a
yeah.
little monkey tail.
We're we're all at the we're all at the dinner table on our phones. Everyone's sitting there. We're supposed to be eating together. Instead, everyone's like this.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, it disconnected us from the social ways that we should be communicating with each other face to face. Why? When you're talking to face and you don't like what somebody says, you could punch them in the nose and give them a fat lip. You can't do that on the phone. So then they're safe. They're way on the other side of the world doing their nonsense and trolling you because they know you can't reach through the thing and punch them in the nose. That's
Right.
what this costs, let alone relationships between a man and a woman. How do you really date on a cell phone? How do you date? You gotta go and be a human and communicate with each other on a human level. But we're
Right.
losing that, which is really
Yeah.
sad because
Yeah.
human
But I think.
status is bad.
Yeah. But
I
I
guess
think
we
we're craving it.
went wrong after that. Oh no, we've gone federal. Ah. Don
Uh,
Postal.
I want to throw one of the comments. Bob G says balance, and I think he rang in probably about the time when you were probably talking about too much masculine and the feminine needing to come in, and possibly talking about the maybe why the UFOs were here to provide balance, but
Yeah, because there's no harmony in this world right now. All the races, there's only one race that's not bothering to build a bomb and take over anybody's country. Us natives. All the other three
wow,
races, oh man, they're guerrilla warfare. They shoot their places to bullets when they should be getting a shovel and a hoe and rebuilding their communities. Instead of they're blowing them up and shooting them up with machine guns. Israel's the Holy Land because it's full of bullet holes right now.
wow,
That's the only reason I see the Holy Land. And be careful, be a big nuclear hole if we're not careful. Because
yeah,
my
that
God, your God, my God can kick your God's ass.
yeah, does doesn't make that whole argument about gods and I'm not trying to offend folks, but you said it already. We've been too kind to
I'll
the
offend
tool.
them. I'm telling them the truth. Then
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
don't
Well,
want
that
to, it's not my fault,
yeah,
because the
no,
truth
but
is,
you're telling the truth. I love what you said. Hey, we've been too kind to
it's
the
not Dan's
tourist.
opinion. That's my
Yeah,
opinion. So don't
yeah.
blame Dan. This is this guy's opinion right
No,
here.
no, but but I agree in the sense that what I know, because I've had some people recently get after me on social media because I said something, and and he just got after me saying, "Oh, screw your God," and you've raped and killed my people, not me, but talking, and he had it so twisted. One, I'm like, who's my God? Let me know. And then secondly, I'm a brown man too, so I don't know what you're talking about. But really, what it is, in my opinion, is man has been ruling man to their injury forever, using the ancient text of the Bible, of Jesus's words, the Bible's ancient text, the Quran, the Vedas, the Tao, just the
And what is it
Egyptians dead.
compounded? They're
Huh?
using racism.
Yeah, they're using racism, but
They
they're
don't like
but
to
they're
hear it. They don't like hearing it. But how do you talk nicely? How do you talk nice about racism or racist? There is no nice way to talk about it. I get in trouble because I bring it up. Why do I bring
yeah,
it up? Because it's out there. I mean, I'm in denial if I'm not, saying it. I mean, I'm not saying, all of us Indians are crying about it and all that, but it's getting to kind of be a headache with this superiority complex that's being built. If there's going to be a destruction of the white man, it's not going to be coming from us brown people. They're going to be destroyed by their own ego.
yes, and we need to start having the conversation anyway, because how do we ever get to a point where somebody says they're sorry? If we don't have the discussion, if we just say we're not talking about it, we're not going to deal with this.
The
The
poor races are supposed to come to America to build a better world, not for ourselves, but for all of our grandchildren. That's what we really were intended to come here for. Have we done it yet? No.
Well, I think I'm hoping. Um, I'm hoping that it's coming. That it's coming either by man, and when I say man and woman, human race, choosing peace and prosperity for everyone, or cosmic events that that reset things to to kind of force.
The mother energy might be sent here to
Yeah.
behave.
I've got a quick question for you from Nicholas. Nicholas says, any tips on how to open portals or to find them?
Well, I already found them. I call them astral latitudes and longitudes, and I've discovered them on my charts by utilizing zeros and fives and the ley lines that I discovered on it, which really aren't ley lines. Ley lines are really just these same latitudes and longitudes. But there's certain ley lines which is kind of hard to say this. They're the ley lines of the dead. They're the spirit path. They're the path that the dead take to go to the underworld. And it's specifically set aside just for those spirits to go along. And it mirrors right next to our living world. Our living world, and then there's the underworld, and then there's the divine world. And all of them have their little ley lines that go out. But the ley lines of the dead are specifically the lines that go to the underworld, or Masao, or what they call it in Hopi. The people that are going on to the underworld on that path, it's also the same path that orbs are traveling on. It's the same one that Bigfoot is traveling on. It's the same ley line that UFOs are following on. It's the same line when you see aliens that they're on that line. For some odd reason, they learn how to follow the ley line of the dead. If you're wondering why Bigfoot stinks, it's because he's going through the underworld to come out of the portal. And when you come out of the underworld, you smell dead.
Wow. Powerful, man.
He comes as an orb, and then he becomes Bigfoot.
I believe that. Now, I haven't seen Bigfoot manifest from an orb, but I have seen orbs. I think I just said it last week or the week before. I've seen an orb turn into what appears to be a drag. It was a black dragon or pterodactyl, whatever. It definitely went from orb to creature shape.
See, that's how they travel, and they become, and then they manifest into their real form once they come onto Earth. Which doesn't mean they could be Bigfoot. They could be what you said. They could be another entity. They could be a good entity. They could be a bad entity. Ooh.
Right.
I mean, Skinwalker Ranch is located right next to the main entrance to the underworld. They're too busy chasing a boogeyman, and I already got it, on my chart that they're right next to the entrance to the underworld where Masao lives from the Hopi.
Yeah. Well, this is a personal invite to Brandon Fugel and all of those over at Skinwalker Ranch. Roger and I would like to come there and actually, do some investigating and being there.
I'd like to make one other statement, though. The problem with the Brandon and them up there, they have a Mormon agenda. And I don't have nothing against them, but they're trying to prove something in their book, which is not true either.
Gotcha.
So I wouldn't really put my faith in, people that are an all Mormon team, even if they're native. Okay. There's native Mormons too.
Right.
And they got an agenda which is not anything like what I'm doing.
Right.
This nonsense thing,
And I, and I'm not saying that's not true. I've met Brandon before. It's not. I don't talk to him. He's a Facebook friend, but he seemed pretty open-minded and willing to step out of what I would consider some normal Mormon paths to stick to. I saw that, but I'm not gonna say that what you're saying is not true. But we'll find out, because if they invited you to come down there, then maybe they would be open to some other stuff.
Mr. Brandon Fugel is dealing with a Skinwalker entity, right? That's something that's not even in his culture. That's in my native culture. Why aren't we involved right along with them?
I agree with you, brother. I agree.
Why aren't the local, people of the Utah Basin, the local natives in that team? Why aren't the Navajos, who are being accused of being the Skinwalkers, a part of this team? Why aren't medicine people being involved with these teams? Because, nobody wants.
I agree. Yeah. No, it's true, and it should change. Yeah, and I hope that us even talking about it puts it out there into the atmosphere and into the world that should change. There's no reason why they shouldn't be on the team. Not someone just interviewed and said, "Hey, this is what used to happen." They should be on the team. I'm
Equal
excited.
member of the crew. Because if they're an equal member of the crew, there's a cultural perspective that is being missed by the Skinwalker Ranch team. They're doing a great job scientifically with all their gadgets and gizmos and all of that. But from a cultural perspective, how are they going to tell my people or my story if they're not brought up in my culture?
Right. Amen. Amen. Hopefully that will change. Hopefully that will change.
I'm praying.
Yeah.
Hey,
No. Me too. Me too. And
unity
yeah.
of all mankind, because we all bleed red, no matter what color or race you are. We're all
Yes.
equal. We all bleed red.
Yeah.
And even my native people, we're not saints, we're not the noble people. So, my
Right.
native people out there, I hate to blow your bubble, you're not the noble red man either. We're humans as well. We make
Right.
mistakes.
Yes. Yes. Well, and that's why I'm excited for us to have connected and become friends, because I'm absolutely inviting you to the things that I'll be doing, and if you're available. And we've talked already about doing some things together, and what you're about to share, which we haven't even gotten to yet. So, people, I just want to tell you, it is worth hanging in there. What he's about to share with everyone really is it's just call it ancient trade routes, but it leads to ancient.
I'm gonna
Go
take
ahead.
them around the world, basically.
Yes.
Once I learn the basics,
And
you know.
and 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 yeah. So let's get to it. By the way, we should probably get to it. I even have some people saying, "Let's go. Let's get into Roger's presentation." Dan, shut up. No.
Stay down here, and let's
So
see
I'm
what.
gonna go full screen for you, so it's on you,
Okay,
and let's get into the first part of it and start breaking it down. Uh,
and I'm gonna center my screen so it's a little better near the middle here. So when I
and
point out things,
I'm
there
even
we go.
gonna enlarge you even further.
Cool. And I'm gonna read just in case you got eyes like mine because my eyes are all shot. So I'm gonna read each of the steps. Step number one is right here, which is the first step of doing this, which is setting up the things for an indigenous way of how we created our latitudes and longitude lines for our trade, was created by making 5 rows of dots. And each of them had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. And you equally space all the dots, these 25 dots. You create a square grid, 5 dots across, 5 dots down. 2, you connect the dots going down. In other words, these ones, these ones, these ones, these ones, these ones, and those will make the longitude lines that are for mapping. So when you go to that, then you go to number 3. Connect the dots going across to make the latitude lines to create the 16 square grid for local trade. Remember I said that 8 and 16 are the important numbers because 16 is the number of the rays in the Zia symbol. That's why the 16 is important. Has 16 square grids. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And once you got this, these are all the latitude lines going across. These are all your longitude lines going down. And then when you have the square set up, then you start setting it up. So you make this the north, you make this the south, you make this the east, you make that the west, and you make the main cardinal cross to these directions. In the corners where it says northeast, you take this and you take it to the southwest. In other words, you make this line go over to this corner. Then you take the northwest corner and then you take it down and you take it over here to the southeast corner. And now you got the layout for your trade zone. In other words, here's your eastern arm of the trade zone, the northeast arm of the trade zone, the north part of the trade zone, the northwest arm of the trade zone, the west arm of the trade zone, the southwest arm of the trade zone, the south side of the trade zone, the southeast, and then back to the east. So when you connect it all up, these are all the latitudes going across these lines. These are all the longitudes going down to here, and they create the 16 grid for the trade layout. Now this one on the bottom is a little different because modern man doesn't use this one. This is the one that my ancestors used for doing global trade. It's 3.25 or 3.25 inch square grid. So this is like 3.25 inch latitude going that way, 3.25 inch longitudes going this way, and then you make this into these 4 squares over on this side. Each one of these little 4 squares is 1.625 latitudes, 1.625 longitudes, and with this you make global travel easier because now you're counting like 3.25 longitudinal and latitude lines at once in this one square. So the 3/4 inch square grid was utilized for long distance global trade because with this one, you go longer distance and you can make another one to here, another one to there. And when I show you an example, I'll bring it up and I'll remind you about this 3.25 inch square. Because what I'm going to show you next, I'm going to combine using the latitudes and longitudes, which are the same that we're using in the modern world today. So there's nothing different on this one, but you might not know about latitudes and longitudes. It's the same as the modern one. It's this one that might throw a little body off because it's not used by modern man. It was used by my ancestors, the 3.25 square grid. So this is basically the layout for 3.25 or 3.25. Now you're probably wondering how I got 3.25. I'm going to have to flip my little thing over and then I'll be right back because there's only one of me. I was supposed to have help, but the old man is on his own. So hold on and I'll find that chart and I'll be right back.
Yeah, for those of you that are here with us and are watching, pose your questions as Roger is going through his presentation here, and I'll be happy to share those with him. I want to remind folks, we appreciate you guys watching and hopefully you're sharing this Dan Dillman Live podcast with other folks. We appreciate you being a part of the team. And, we hope you enjoy these amazing guests that I've got on the show. And your support means the world. And can't thank you enough. I guess really quick while Roger is doing that, I saw something. Yeah, Joseph, I just want to read your comment. Matter of fact, I think I can share your comment really quick. Let's see, and I should be able to move that. There we go. Joseph said, I was told a story the Mexica used to control this planet through the solar system like a spaceship. Just wanted to share with everyone else what you had put out there, and I'll mention it to Roger later. So Colleen was supposed to be with us this evening, and she would have helped Roger with this kind of stuff. But the show must go on, and we appreciate Colleen. And sorry she couldn't make it.
And just bear with me because this was she was supposed to help me do this part.
Yeah, no worries.
Doing it himself.
I also want to make mention. Oh, go ahead. If you're
okay. Center it. Okay, here we go. So how I got 3.25. See, here's 3.25 right here. In Mesoamerica, the number in Mesoamerica is 13, which is these 2 bars with the 3 dots. Mesoamerica, 13. You take the Mesoamerican 13 and you times it by 2, which equals 26, which is another sacred number of Mesoamerica. And what you do is now you divide that by 16. And where did I get 16 from? 16 is from the New Mexico Zia symbol, or what I'm pointing at here, that has 16 rays coming out of it. These are all ancient symbols and totally indigenous, nothing European about any of these two. Mesoamerica, New Mexico. So you take 13 times 2 equals 26, divided by 16, gives you 1.625. And if you notice on the small squares on that 325, that was the same number, 1.625. Now you take the 1.625, which I'm going to tell you right now is the real number for the golden mean ratio, not the one they're using today. This is the real number because it has a quarter at the end. There's no infinite nonsense. So 1.625 times 2 equals 3.25. What is 3.25? It's the real number for pi, not the 3.176 I just don't know number that we're using today, because that's 3.25. It can be divided equally. So this is the real number of pi, not the one we're using today. Not bad for, what they call as a caveman that couldn't invent the wheel. I mean, we're trying to teach modern man about using the real pi while they're on the wrong one. So this is the formula, indigenous formula. We're coming up with the golden mean ratio as well as pi. So now that you got that together, that's what these are here. Now, 3.25, these are those squares I was telling you about. I'll come back to this in a second. I just wanted to make sure that you understand this other system of reading the globe. But I just wanted you to know about the golden mean ratio, and I'm going to take it, find another chart. Go ahead, Dan, talk a little bit. I'm going to find another chart. I have to know it.
All right, so I wanted to do a check-in. No audio issues, hopefully, from everyone. As you can see, I'm wearing an in-ear today, trying to make sure that we improve the audio experience for you guys because we're having that phantom echo come across, which was crazy. We would do tests, and there were recording and streaming, no echo, but as soon as we went live, we'd have that problem. So hopefully you're not having bad audio. It's all good. Next Tuesday, my guest will be Geraldine Orozco. She is something amazing. And we'll be talking about, ancient DNA and past life. I can't even do it justice right now. Bottom line is I'll be posting about that after this show tomorrow. Get the promo out for with Geraldine for next Tuesday. But you guys will love her and love it. So excited about that. We've got subscriptions. I'm definitely, one thing I never liked about a church is asking for money. So I'm not asking for no money. But I am saying that if you enjoy what we're doing and spirit moves you, something moves you to join our team and 99 cents a month, $3.99, that would be dope. Super appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to Paul Quilter, one of my buddies and supporters. I want to give a shout out to my brother, Jason, who supports this channel. And of course, my wife, Gina, and all of you for showing up every week. And thank you guys. Audio sounds clear. Awesome. Seems like it was just a headphone fix. Yeah, apparently that's what it was. It's just crazy that it didn't happen during testing. But when we went live, it was stressful. So Roger's doing his thing there. And give me suggestions of some people you guys would like for me to get on the show. Of course, I'm working on some stuff, some people, some interviews, setting some stuff up for future shows. I'm kind of considering that season 1 of Dan Dillman Live will probably be 8 episodes, and then we'll get into a season 2 and hopefully improve my skills in doing my part of the job. So Chris Bloodsoe in the future. Okay, I'll look into him. There's some other guys that I've been looking into as well in regards to consciousness and some other cool topics. Roger, you let me know whenever you're ready because I am just wasting time.
Thank you for doing that because I was digging around. I got about
I should have been more prepared to share. I guess I could share hot news. No, but if you're ready to go, let me get you over there.
44
Terry Carter, yes.
Here at this 45 and 123 longitude, which is right here, is my beach where my great grandfather lived in Tillamook, back to that Tillamook. You go out to 44, 124, and you go directly south 44 to 43 to 42 to 41 to 40 degrees latitude, which puts you at Cape Mendocino at Point Delgado, California, which is 40 degrees latitude, 124 degrees longitude. From this point on here, where Cape Mendocino is at, and the people go and look off of Cape Mendocino, there's an underwater wall that's bigger than the Bimini wall. That's just this little dinky thing at the bottom of the ocean. You can see this wall from a satellite image from outer space if you go look off the coast of Cape Mendocino, and it goes all the way past Hawaii and all the way to Asia. But modern man doesn't know any of that yet. But anyway, back to what I was doing. 4124 is where Cape Mendocino is. 40, 39, 38, 37. These are the latitudes. 125, 126, 127, 128 in blue, they're the longitudes. So you take all these numbers and you go down 31, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 24, 23, 21. Since I can't continue all the way down here, this is like a straight line. So just look at this as being continuation of here because the paper ran out. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And where does this number take you to? 6, 158 from up here at Cape Mendocino. And what is that 6, 158? 6 degrees latitude, 158 longitude. And what is it, the latitude and longitude? Nanmadol, Micronesia. No one's been inhabiting that place in over 13,000 years. This is a trade port where we used to trade to. This was a place that we went to get our trade all the way over into Asia, Europe, and all the way into India and all of that. So you could go from Tillamook down the coast to Cape Mendocino, all the way down here, and all the way to Nanmadol. Go ahead, Dan, talk a little bit. I'm going to find one more chart that'll continue from Nanmadol. And
Okay.
I'll show you those players.
So hopefully you guys are following this, because I'm telling you right now, what he is sharing with us right now is some ancient knowledge about ancient trade routes that that we don't have, and through latitude and longitude. So in fact, this system he is sharing, I'm excited because a lot of people may not know, but my family's 1982 discovery in Johnson Canyon in Utah, southern Utah, was from my grandfather deciphering latitude and longitude and got us at this location. My grandfather used to even try to tell, other people who would ask questions about the ancients, and he would tell them, hey, it's latitude and longitude. And basically, some people would argue, with them and my uncles and even me and say, well, oh, what are you talking about? And my grandfather said, go get a sextant and go shoot the stars and you'll find out, blah, blah, blah. And they would say, you can't do that. You can only use a sextant on the ocean. My grandfather would say, well, take the ocean and move it to the land and go ahead and pretend the water's there and use your sextant, because you will discover that they were navigating by the stars and latitude and longitude. All right, Roger, looks like Roger's back.
And your grandfather was totally right, because this is all, ocean, but you will notice I'll run into land here. But we left out at Nanmadol, right? There's Nanmadol right here. If you look, this 0 right here stands for the equator. 0 is the equator. And there's that 3.25 square I was telling you about, 3 1/4 inch grid. That's for long distance global traveling. You take 325 and you add 325 to it, it gives you 650. And what's that 650? Nanmadol, Micronesia. You add 325 to the 650, it gives you 9.75. And what's that 9.75? The Philippines. what do you do after you add 3.25 to 9.75? It gives you 13.00, which is the latitude for Angkor Wat, Cambodia. You add 3.25 to 13, it gives you 16.25. It takes you to the Bay of Bengal, which Tibet is located at. You take 1625, add 3.25 to that, gives you 1950, which is the latitude for Mumbai, India. From 1950, add 3.25, gives you 22.75. It gives you the Arabian Sea. And if you notice on the Arabian Sea, what I did is that there's a location at 21 degrees latitude, 62 degrees longitude, which is for the east side, and it's where this arrow is pointing to, is Dwarka, the sunken city off the coast of India. How do I know that? Dwarka was a port for getting trade up the Indus River as well as the Persian Gulf. So if you go 21, 22, 23, 24 to 25 latitudes, 66 longitude, it takes you to that port that I was talking about, to a place called Ras Rari in the Singapore Bay at Karachi off the coast of India, which is where Dwarka is located off the underwater. Because from this location, you keep going forward, it takes you to the Indus River, where trade came out from Mohenjo-daro in Pakistan, down the Indus River to here. And from this point on, it took you up the Persian Gulf. And what was up the Persian Gulf? The Tigris-Euphrates River, or in other words, Sumer. So from this location, you can get to Sumer, from this location to Mohenjo-daro. So you're here at the Arabian Sea at 22.75. You add 3.25 to that. It takes you to the Red Sea at 2600. And then you go to 29.25, 2600 and plus 3.25 gives you 29.25 north for Memphis, Egypt. If you notice, I have these little orange squares in here. I put these in here because I don't want to disturb the formula over here. But it goes up here to 39 degrees latitude and 40 degrees longitude to Mount Ararat. But these squares that I'm showing you here are the same ones that are down here. See, Memphis, Egypt, Memphis, Egypt, Memphis, Egypt. First square, first square. But if you notice on this 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, and then you get to 37 degrees latitude, 38 degrees longitude. Where does it take you to? Göbekli Tepe. It's theoretically the oldest place they claim in the world, which it's not. It's just another trade location in my chart. Then you go to 39 degrees and 37 degrees latitude, 39 degrees longitude. It takes you to Karahan Tepe, which is another older location in Göbekli Tepe. But if you keep going, the trade route will take you to 39 degrees latitude and 40 degrees longitude, which will take you to Mount Ararat. In Mount Ararat, there's a lost civilization that hasn't been discovered or found yet that is old as the Egyptians, because the Egyptians were trading with the people in Mount Ararat for precious stones like gold, silver, and lapis lazuli, all the way down into Memphis, Egypt. So Memphis, Egypt was connected in the trade arm to Mount Ararat and to the Göbekli Tepe and the Karahan Tepe. So once you get past Memphis, Egypt, 29.25, you add 3.25 to that, it takes you 32.50, takes you to Tripoli, Libya. Then you add 3.25 to that 30.50, takes you 35.75 to Tangier, Morocco. And what's that Tangier, Morocco? The Atlas Mountains. And who lived at the base of the Atlas Mountains? The Atlanteans. And then you take 35.75 and add 3.25 again to that, takes you to 39.00, which takes you out of the Mediterranean to the Azores Islands, or to this Graciosa Island, 39 degrees 28. 39 degrees 28. So this location is here. So with the long global mapping, you could do global mapping. And what I just showed you right here, from this distance to this distance, is 180 degrees, or in other words, half a globe, which is what this is showing here, 180 degrees, 15 degrees for each, longitude between them. But anyway, this gives 180 degrees for that. Go ahead, Dan, take over again. I'm going to find another chart, and I'll be right back. Then I'm going to pick it up from...
You got it. You got it. I'm back on the scene with the gangster lean. No. I'm being silly. All right. I just switched ears here for my little in-ear monitoring system. Yeah, I'm reaching out to Robert Kreider for sure. He's my bud. I will make sure my mic's not muted. I'm definitely reaching out to Roger, reaching out to Terry or Roger. If you're seeing this right now, or I'm sorry, Robert, if you're seeing this right now, I'm talking to Roger. I'm calling you. I need you. I need you guys on the show. So expect to have those guys on here for sure. Randall Carlson would be a great one as well. So I'll reach out to him. And that'll be close to wrapping up season 1. And then I need to get on to planning season 2. So Diamond in the backs. That's it, Bob G. That's it. All right. You back, Roger? You ready? Almost. Roger's got his kitty cat over there and apparently his dog.
Yeah, she's running up. You're tired of me yakking. Well, here's that island, and the Graciosa Island of the Azores. It's right here at 3928. The blue are the longitudes, the red are the latitudes. People consider what I'm doing pseudoscience, but pseudoscience, they don't show you your data and the equations and the exact latitudes and longitudes. Pseudoscience is just talking out of your butt like they do in modern science. But here's the Azores, and you go down 39, 38, 37, 36, 35, which are the latitudes, 28, 29, 30, 31, the longitudes. And you follow this diagonally all the way down to 21, and it continues. But like I said, the paper runs out, so you go to 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, and you keep going down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, until you get here to the 0 where the equator is located. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And what is that? 10 degrees latitude and 70 degrees longitude south. Corral, Peru, 2,000 years older than Egypt. This from Azores all the way to Peru. In every latitude, and even all these sections that are going through the jungle are trade locations that nobody is aware of or even know it exists. So when you get to 1077 from Azores, it takes you to Corral, Peru, which is at 10 degrees latitude, 77 degrees longitude, 77 degrees longitude. So you see that these work exactly out to what these latitudes and longitudes are. But once you get to Corral, Peru, you can do all the things that you need to do with the birds there, because there's a lot of places like Lima, Peru, and Nazca, and Tiwanaku, and all of that are trade there. But once you get done with your trade in that area, you can go back all the way up to the 673 and this 574, which will take you all the way back to Teotihuacan. And I'll show that chart next. Go ahead, Dan. I'll get another chart.
I hope people are capturing what's going on here, because honestly, what Roger is sharing with us, this ancient wisdom, this ancient knowledge of the trade routes, we should technically be able to discover artifacts and possibly other ancient civilizations from following his maps. And I'm talking about...
Better than guessing and digging in a hole anywhere that you think there might something be. You could go to an actual longitude and put a LiDAR there and look.
And for those who may be watching, whether now or in the future, think that we're talking crazy. Oh, the natives using latitude and longitude and the stars. Listen, it's already a fact. I think, obviously even academia understands that the temples and, just figuring out at least that the pyramids and the temples and these sites are all astronomically aligned. And they used the sciences, the mathematics and sciences to lay out the places that they were building for when they went creating their paths. And okay, I'm going to stop talking because you're ready to go, right? Here we go.
If you see over here where this red line is at, where it says 21, this is the continuation of the line from the Azores Islands that goes to Corral. So it says 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which are the latitudes. Longitude 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, and down here. So what is that? 1077? Corral. And if you look down here at 1277 is Lima, Peru. Up here at 977 is Chauvin de Wantar, and all the way up to Colic, Puma. I mean, if you go over here to Saipan on this area and see what this yellow line, this is the line that comes in from Easter Island, and it goes to Saipan, and it goes to the 7, 8, 9, 10, La Ciudad, Parira, then it goes to Oyotambo, Machu Picchu, Cusco, Roachi, Honanari, Lake Titicaca, and it ends at Puma Punca. And if you keep going down to 19.69, it'll take you to the Atacama Giant way out in the middle of the desert. I call this the South American burbs. This is all their trade locations. If they wanted to make the job easy, they should hire me because I can tell them exactly where all these trade places are going to. So when you get done with your trade in Peru, what you got to do is you leave this area and you go back up to where this red line is up here. See where this red line is? This red line where it says Epixa Luna, which is another route that goes from Orkney Island from Scotland, comes also all the way down here to the Mopopa geoglyphs, to Nazca, to Ica, to Paracas and Pisco. That's the Orkney Island route from Scotland. But once you're done trading with the people in South America, and when we're done, we would go back to Pixa Una, then we'll go to Lagunas, and then we'll go all the way up to Tumaco, Ecuador, where the equator is at. Now watch, you follow this line, it'll take you all the way up here, take you all the way up to Tuna Tepac, to Monte Alban, and where does it eventually end up? It takes you to Teotihuacan, Mexico. So this is the route that you can take from South America to get to Teotihuacan, Mexico. The next chart I'm going to show you is how we go from Teotihuacan to Tillamook, which is where my great-great-grandfather was. Go ahead, Dan. I got one more chart to dig out. Whoa, this is flat. I'm trying to get my arms in. Okay. Hey, I'm back. I only mangled one chart so far. Dan, I can't hear you.
This whole time I was talking, apparently.
Oh, okay. I can hear you now. Oh, you're gone again.
Yes, I am gone. I'm back now. So unbelievable. Damn, I was saying some great stuff about you, man. I can't believe it. I'll pick it up next time because you're back up.
I don't need my ego to be boosted anyway. So
I'll repeat myself later. I apologize, folks. I've been trying to. I don't know why I'm muting the microphone. There's no need to because we got the echo fixed, but I'm still doing it. Here's Roger.
Okay, now where I left off a little earlier when I was saying about the burbs, there's Corral, Peru again. And this is the area where you go up to, Tumaco, Ecuador, which I was mentioned earlier. And then when you go from Tumaco, Ecuador, the equator is at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way up to 1796. What is that, 1796? Monte Alban, Mexico, or Mitla, the Lord of the Underworld, which is right next to Tehuna-Tepec, which is below it. And above Monte Alban, after you go over Mount Laylac, is Teotihuacan, Mexico itself at 1998. From that point on, you go to San Luis Potosi, you go to Magdalena, you go to Babaquiri, Picacho Peak, Auction Village, Wickiup, Spirit Mountain, Nevada, Quartzsite Mountain, Nevada, Belted Peak, Round Mountain, Nevada, Lovelock Cave, Nevada, which is pretty old, Pyramid Lake in Nevada, Crater Lake, Oregon, and it goes all the way back to Tillamook. It's where I started at the beginning when we went to Cape Mendocino, which is my great-great-grandfather's beach. Now, Dan keeps talking about the numbers 13 and 20. Those were important in our Chinook mapping systems too. That's why I know it's ancient, because it uses those same exact numbers of 13 and 20 to describe things. And I'll show you how. Babaquiri Mountain, which is right here in southern Arizona along the Mexican border, down just near Sasabe. There's a location, a village called Tapawa, and Tapawa is at 111 degrees longitude, and which is at the base of the Babaquiri Mountain. Tapawa is very important because it was the trade location where people went to when they came to Babaquiri. Tapawa is also where my family and my uncle lived. Well, my late uncle, he just passed on, but their Tono Autumn have nieces and nephews that are living in Tapawa right now at this very day, have relatives that are there. So if you look at Tapawa, Arizona, at the border where the Babaquiri Mountain is at, you count 13. Remember that number 13 that's sacred to the Mesoamericans? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What is that number 13? 19 degrees latitude, 98 degrees longitude. In other words, it takes you to Teotihuacan, Mexico, from that 13 blocks to here. You take the Paua and you do the same 13 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It takes you to 45,123, Tillamook, Oregon. 13 blocks there, 13 blocks to Teotihuacan. So there's your 13, there's your other 13. Now from Teotihuacan, you use the sacred number that the Mesoamericans use is 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And what is that 20? It's 1 degree south, 78 degrees longitude. It takes you to Tumaco, Ecuador, or the first place to trade when you enter South America through Ecuador. So 20 will take you to South America, 13 will take you to Teotihuacan, 13 will take you to Tillamook. 13, 13, 20. And that's how the 13 and 20 works with my Chinook system of mapping. And if you notice, Lovelock Cave and Pyramid Lake are here. What I realized in Pyramid Lake, I can verify this, because I don't know about the Egyptians in the Grand Canyon, because I know they had trade in Marble Canyon, because it's part of my charts. And there was, gold going to that area. But I can verify that at Pyramid Lake, the Sumerians and the Egyptians were coming to this same location to come to this same location here at Round Mountain. And why were we all going to Round Mountain? Round Mountain has the largest gold deposit in the world, and still has the largest gold deposit in the world. The Sumerians knew about it. My people knew about it. We all went down here to get the gold from this mountain, Belted Peak, Quartzsite area right here. Quartzsite is interesting because it has gold too, but it's located on Area 51. So the Army then sitting on top of an ancient gold mine. And what do you do when you get all of that gold together? You take it down to Spirit Mountain, Nevada, and from Spirit Mountain, Nevada, it was the route to take it down the Colorado River and down into the Gulf of California, down to Guaymas, down to Culiacan, and on its way to Teotihuacan. So what I basically did is I took you from Tillamook down to Cape Mendocino, to Nan Madol, all the way across the Mediterranean, all the way down to Corral, Peru, and from Corral, Peru, I took you up through Tumaco, Ecuador, all the way up to Teotihuacan, and from Teotihuacan, all the way back to where we started, Tillamook, Oregon. Or in other words, we just circumnavigated the globe. I got one more chart, and now take a break.
Awesome. And I'm going to jump on here now that I can probably be heard. Yes, I see my own level. What I was saying earlier when my mic was muted, I apologize, is that do we understand the significance of what Roger is sharing with us? We've heard for years there's been questions, about trading and trade routes and it's all here. We didn't speak. People weren't speaking to the natives about, hey, where did you guys go? How did you get there? Roger is sharing with us the ancient map that proves, and it's their oral history of the trade routes of traveling the globe, traveling the earth, and going to all of these locations and trading. And it makes complete sense. That's what I'm saying. Common sense has been out of the window for a very long time when it comes to the ancient natives and the ancient civilizations. Of course, they traveled across the seas and to all parts of the world and traded. Of course they did. They were more advanced than us. It's something that I hope that everyone is okay with, and we can humble ourselves a little bit to say these guys were more advanced than us, and that's why we just couldn't believe it. And I don't say us like me and you, but the early settlers who came to the Americas couldn't deal with it, couldn't believe the truths, and so of course they don't want that truth out there. Well, it's over. The truth is out. Roger is sharing it. This is an ancient map system. I don't know if you guys heard me earlier. I said globe. Yeah, flat earth, globe, whatever. That's another show. Bottom line is this is seriously some historical data being shared with us and humbled. All right, Roger, you ready to go?
Yep. Like I was telling you, that 45 degrees latitude is for Tillamook. Well, on the other end of the coast, on the East Coast, at 45 degrees latitude on the East Coast, the Mi'kmaq controlled the trade from the Pictou Island at 45 degrees latitude, 60 degrees longitude. So the Pictou Island was controlled by the Mi'kmaq for trade. And for what reason? Well, from Pictou Island, you would go down to here, and then you would go up here, and it'll take you to the Burin Peninsula, between Miquelon and St. Pierre Islands, and then at 48 to Beaver Brook Bay to Du Nord Wilderness Reserve, and the 4954 between the 5th and Northwest or 2nd Pond near Centerville at Warrenham Trinity, and then from 5053 is open sea all the way across until you get all the way up here to Prince Christian Sound, Greenland, at 60 degrees 43, which is right here. And there's that 3.25 again, that square block. You follow this straight line to 3.25 to this other side. It'll take you to 64 degrees latitude, 19 degrees longitude, which is in Iceland. Go ahead, talk a little bit more, Dan. I got one more sheet to show.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I see my audio level. Hey, while you're doing that, can you hear me, Roger? Can you actually hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So I think it was Nicholas. Nicholas wanted to know, is the earth flat or is it round, according to your elders and your native ways?
It's shaped like an egg. That's why Easter Island, they go out and look for an egg. That's what the Olmec heads are. They're eggs. My family lineage comes from that giant Pacific Northwest coast woman went up a mountain to Thunderbird's Nest and rolled out an egg down the mountain. And when it opened, It was my ancestors, the Katsa. And there's the cosmic egg that's in Greece. And there's the eggs that are down in Portugal that they're finding. And there's the eggs they're finding in Egypt. There's something about this eggs, and the egg seems to be the shape of the earth. It's not totally round.
Well, and I
Where?
yeah, and not to stop you from what you're doing, because of course we want to continue this, and maybe the whole thing that I want to get into is a whole nother show. But even the egg shape could represent the earth, because for sure, by observation at least, I have surmised that the earth is round. It is round with depth. So it's a circle and it's got depth to it, like when I look at the moon or the sun. And so even the egg shape, the top of it could be atmosphere. So a lot of smart people with a lot of crazy, convincing, not just ideas, but evidence about a flat earth and also about a globe. Since I'm no mathematician, physicist who can, check all the math that I'm told, I can't confirm that. But man, are there some good arguments about flat earth. But okay, looks like you're back and ready to go.
I think I got this. This is the most important part. On this corner is Iceland, 64 degrees latitude with a 64 there, 19 degrees longitude. It's right there. 64, 63, 62, 61, which is starting to go diagonally down toward Europe, basically. These are the longitudes, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, all the way down. So you get all the way down here to a place called Ben Bulben, where there's a rock formation, which is the beginning of the entrance into Europe. And that's at 54 degrees latitude, 8 degrees longitude right here. And then it goes to Killsasser, Ireland, as well as Ballingarry, which is located here at 52.7. This is all Ireland. There's more ocean come here. And then you run into England, Plymouth, which is in England. But then there's this St. Michael's Mount, which people are familiar with, which is an island with a big church sitting out in the middle of the water. And sometimes the tide goes in and out, and it's surrounded by water. Sometimes it's surrounded by sand and mud. But St. Michael's Mount is also located on this trade route. And then Land's End, which is near Lizard, which is in England as well as getting out of here to Brest. Brest is when you're starting to get into the area of France. This is where it gets interesting, because now you're entering a people called the Barnes Mound. What's the Barnes Mound? It's been officially dated to be 4,800 BC, this Barnes Mound. This is who we were trading with then. So you can see that we're trading that long with these people there. And then you run into this place that everybody's familiar with. It's called Carnac, Brittany, with all those hundreds of standing stones that are all in a row and formation. It was our trade zone. That's what those were set up for, to go to other trade locations throughout Europe. And it came to this common point called Carnac, Brittany. That's dated at 3,300 BC, Carnac. And that's a famous location. And then you get to Garbinus, which is dated to 4,200 BC. And it's older than the pyramids of Egypt, this Garnis over here. And then you get down to La Rochelle, which is where the Templars are. The Templars are taking credit for my ancestors' trade routes, which I'm kind of upset about, because they had no idea about these trade routes. They talking out their butt, talk about pseudoscience. They only talk about it. They can't show you equations and charts and latitudes and longitudes like I'm showing you here. But we actually went to the Templar location of La Rochelle, which is at 46.1. But now we get to 45 degrees and at the equator. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting, Dan. La Foraci Cave. What's so interesting about La Foraci Cave? It's been officially carbon dated by the archaeologists to be 300,000 BC. At 300 BC, there was no modern people in Europe yet. At 300 BC, we were trading with the Neanderthals, because there were no modern Homo sapiens that were even in Europe yet. There were only Neanderthals there.
Wait, 300,000, not 3,000, 300,000 years.
300,000 years ago. La Perouse Cave, Neanderthals. That shows you how old this chart is. Then after that, you go to Toulouse, France. Then you leave France, and then you're going in a straight line, yeah. Then you go to Minorca, which is dated at 2500 BC, and then you keep going on down, and then there's Sardinia off to the side here. And Sils, Portugal is one of those places that has the cosmic egg too. There's a cosmic egg here in Sils, Portugal that we left there, as well as the egg that the Greeks have called the cosmic egg. Go to 36, 35, then there's Espax, which used to be called Taparua, Tunisia, Africa. This is where you're starting to get into the continent of Africa from this point on. 33 to 32 latitude and 50 degrees longitude take you to Tripoli, Libya, Northern Africa. See, 32, 32, 13, 13. And the location was once an empire run by black Christians, and Taparua was an ancient Christian bishopric center, and it was connected to the Garamantes, which were dated at 2000 BC. So what I showed you just now is how we went to Europe and to Africa. And the other one I showed you how we went from the Polynesians to the Asians to the Indians to the black man in Egypt. Now, with me saying all of that and La Perouse Cave, this is where my major point is. You can quit all the nonsense about Christopher Columbus, the Vikings, and the Templars, and St. Brandon, and all the other nonsense of discovering America. Because if you could find an age that's older than 300,000 BC, then I might consider it. But if you can't come up with a date that's older than 300,000 BC, then you should just shut up, because apparently Native people discovered the black man. Native discovered the white man. Native people discovered the yellow man 300,000 years ago. Now, how does that compare to 533 years ago from 1492? Peanuts. So we need to turn this thing around, because this is the paradigm shift. This shows me that we discovered the other three races. They never discovered us.
I love it, man. You are kicking some straight knowledge, and something that this map essentially, the technology, the information encoded in your map is over 300,000 years old, and is proving your trade routes from the ancestors. And to me, it makes complete sense. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing, but yet it's common sense. And it really makes me feel good to hear you say the things you're saying, and I hope it doesn't offend some people, and not that you care about that, Roger, in the sense of
the tourists too damn long. It's time they know the real truth instead of the lies they've been putting in their history books in the universities. And I don't want to get Dan in trouble, because the opinions are mine or my native people's opinion talking. It's not Dan's opinion, so don't get mad at Dan for what I have to say. Because us pandering to tourists has got us into the position we're in, where we're getting all this misinformation, disinformation. Ancient aliens did it all. People came from outer space, did all this work. And it's just getting worse. And that's why I had to come out and finally had to do something and say something. 3 months ago, I almost died with all this knowledge. 3 months ago, I would have been dead. All of this would have went with me. And what is all this? This is the true history of my people and the Americas, not what you're seeing in the universities and the colleges or you're reading in your high school books. It's all bullshit that you're reading there. This is the true history of the Americas. This is truly how long we've been here. This is truly how we went and discovered all the other rest of the globe, and how we mapped so we could navigate, so we could trade globally. I got maps that go to every section of the earth. This is just a small sample. I have to go through about 30 some pages just to find one page to show you. So there's a whole book full of charts I have in here, which maybe I'll come on with Dan and show again a little later. But my main point was to show the races that they didn't discover America. We discovered you 300,000 BC. Carbon and verified by the anthropologists and the archaeologists, and it goes directly to there. That was our equator point for going to Europe and Africa.
Yeah, so I hope people truly understand the significance of what Roger has just shared, what he is sharing. That this is the true story of the Americas. The Americas was that civilization, one of those ancient civilizations that was thriving, and it was the natives here who were thriving and who were a part of this vast keepers of ancient wisdom and knowledge of mathematics and sciences, and everything from growing and being connected to nature to self-sustainable energy. I promise you, free energy, and all of the above. And this map and this wisdom that Roger has brought to our attention, honestly, should be shattering, the academic world, and just opening people's eyes to know the truth that the
My thing,
natives.
what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do is that with what I have here, I would like everything in here is indigenous from our side of the world. What I would like to do is reinstate this trade network globally once again, so we could get back on our feet economically, so we could have an independent um, trade network separate from the European one that's going to operate on indigenous principles and the way it used to be operated before they arrived. I mean,
Yeah.
I got one more chart that even shows the future of where I went with Chinook map making to make all the trade come here to the Sandias, because I'm not in Tillamook no more. I'm here.
Yeah. And Roger, we've got some folks are saying, hey, it's hard to follow. It's probably because, it's going to be hard for us to, it's the first time we're hearing this, right? It's the first time we're hearing this. It's first time.
The main problem that people are going to have is that we understood latitudes and longitudes. That is the main obstacle, because they still think we're cavemen that couldn't invent the wheel because of the social programming. If they could understand that we understood math and we did understand latitudes and longitudes like your grandfather said, then they could comprehend what I'm talking about. If they can't comprehend what I'm talking about, it might be a lot to take in for the first time too, because this is a lot. I mean, I'm just exposing this to the world for the first time, and I wouldn't be surprised if people are going, I didn't know that.
Well, and and you just hit it. That's the whole point I was going to get to, and I'm glad you said it, and I'll say it again for people. Is what we're getting at is that latitude and longitude could be hard for people to understand, but once you learn it, once you understand it, it's a way of navigating the entire planet, not just the planet, but technically, I imagine you navigate the stars as well. But you're What was that?
You use 13 and you can navigate the cosmos.
There you go. And so the point being is his paper maps here may be a little difficult for folks because, he doesn't have a big enough piece of paper, right? So when he shifts over to the other side, when he's doing that counting and then shifts over to the other side, really those are supposed to, be underneath that existing lines of data or the squares that he has set up. Just the paper's not big enough. So what would be super awesome, Roger, I would love if someone way smarter than me reached out to us and figured out how we can help you create this digitally somehow, some form of digital way of having all of your information.
I'll give you an idea. You could use a copy of the show and send it to them.
Well, there you go. Yes. And they can be get in contact with you and get in contact with me, because that's sacred number 13, along with what you're showing here. Once again, honestly, shoot, I'm a little concerned that we're sharing, back in the old days, we would have said, we can't share this with you. Go ahead and blur this map. We're going to talk about it and tell you what we got, but we can't show it to you. But you're showing it. And
can I tell you something? my own native people aren't taking this seriously, so it's more important that I just get it out to just people in general, because even my own native people aren't taking what I'm doing seriously, and they should. I could show them how the Hopis arrived at finding the center place if they wanted to,
Right.
but because the way it's set up right now is, um, well, modern man has been socially programmed to believe that we're savages, and that's the first thing we block. We need to get over that wall.
I can't see your face, Roger. I don't know if you can get in here and talk to us through the camera, but yeah, there you go.
What
So
I'm
people
trying to
can see
tell
you.
people is that we need to get us out of the savage category, out of your colonial mindset. The colonial mindset is what's screwing you up because everything that's in there has been socially programmed into your brain about who we are as native people. I mean, to be honest with you, you haven't even got to understand us, let alone America yet. And yet you're trying to act like you belong here after 533 years. That's not even long enough for evolution to take place. So they need to behave. You American immigrants need to behave because they're trying to take my place as a native person. They're not from here. You're from across the big pond. You're from where other white people are from. You came to my land to become part of our culture and our destiny. You're part of our world. We're not part of yours. Our
That's
predictions
deep.
and our prophecies are now applied to you. There was 13 colonies, and 13 is a sacred number. There's 50 states and 2 territories. 50 plus 2 is 52, another sacred number. The colors for the Aztecs were red, white, and blue. The color for America is red, white, and blue. The bird for America was the eagle. The bird for the Aztec was the eagle. It's a mirror, people. It's a mirror. The America are the modern Aztecs. In 2025, the conquistadors are coming from up there down here, and it's a replay of what happened with Cortez, except this time, America is in the Aztec position, and the conquistadors are the star people.
Wow. Yeah. I'm going to read some of this stuff because, I want folks to know that I'm not hiding from any of your comments and I want to share them. Nicholas, I think some of them are saying for us to use Chat GPT, telling you to write a book to get this info out. Nicholas
Oh,
says
guess what,
3.2.
Ken? Can I interrupt you real quick? I
Yeah.
want to tell that person, um, within the next month, I'm writing a book that's 65 to 70 pages long that's going to have these charts that I'm showing you in it, as well as explain how to read it. And it's going to explain the whole process. So I am doing a book starting within a month, and I'm hoping to have it written within 2 months and have it out within 3 months. So I just wanted to answer your question about a book. We are writing a book.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, then you let me know that too. And so we can share that with folks. Someone at Ice Not says that's biased. So I don't know what part he may be talking about, but I'm sure some of the stuff, that was, that you were saying. Uh,
I offended some of the colonialists out there, and
yeah, it will.
I
Right.
don't apologize. It's time
Yeah.
that we quit pandering to you and that you get to know the real truth of who you really are and quit your bullshit and who you think we are because you're starting to believe your own bullshit that you think is history, and it's
Right.
not. There's
Eh,
no
eh,
bias involved. You want bias involved? You want natives not being involved. Now that's biased.
Yeah, and you've got super valid points. Ice Not, don't take it personal, because he's not speaking to you specifically because he doesn't know you and you don't know him, and but Nicholas says this info is not relevant now that seafaring is not a thing. Actually, Nicholas, remember what I said earlier is that this is not just about the ocean. Yes, seafaring and all, it is relevant to discovery of ancient artifacts, ancient civilizations, and things to find across these routes that not just in the ocean, but keep in mind this same map covers land. And
And
so
not
this
only that, it's relevant to something that's even heavier than that. It's relevant to our Aboriginal title to the land. If we can prove that we've been here around the world 300,000 BC, I'd like to see you show me your charts, your equations, and your data to show me that you've been over here over 300,000 years. This is about Aboriginal title. We've been excluded from being U.S. citizens, and now they're taking our right to vote away. We got to come out and say something, because if we don't, we're going to be sent off in these little train cars to an oven real soon here if we're not careful, because that's how you people operate. So now
Yeah.
I got to come out with all the guns and let you know that our knowledge is 300,000 BC. It's not about seeing navigating ancient. It's about proving how long you've been here and proving that we have Aboriginal title to all of the Americas.
And there you go. And I hope that folks will understand, because it's hard to understand what the natives have gone through. Listen to
And
this.
still are.
It's been horrible. How from the very beginning, how the natives have been treated. And so Roger is coming from a place that we can't understand. A lot of us can't understand. Some of us do understand. Can't
Well,
comprehend.
it's the natives from 1491. You got the natives from 1492 up. Those are those assimilated Indians that are the colonial version that you're writing in your books, or the bullshit you're writing in your books.
Right. And so this what he's sharing comes from his grandfather and from the elders of their tribes and the ancient knowledge that they have. And so we have to, hopefully be compassionate to where he is speaking from. Sometimes.
The other three races. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Of all the four races, we're the only ones that get ignored and act like we're invisible by the other three races. It's getting old. The black man, the yellow man, they're all sided against us with this nonsense. And it's really annoying, because we have our own cultural view. We have our own cultural way of seeing things. With my indigenous equations, it's not even tied to anything European, which proves my point that we have Aboriginal title to the land called America.
And so I would hope that, to me, it's badass information. It is history unfolding. And once again, just like Roger just said, it's deep. These are conversations that some of, we may not want to have or listen to sometimes, but this is he is telling the truth when, look, the natives are still being ignored. The natives are we have taken their land. It's just like today. If a group of people came in and just took your grandma's home, your home and your grandma's home, and just took it and did very dastardly things, and then told all kinds of lies about you. And so the reality is I understand where he's coming from. It's important that he speaks like he does, because that truth has to hurt.
It's uncomfortable because it's an indigenous perspective, and that's where the social programming gets in the way. Their brain is wired that that's all they want to hear. They don't want to hear the indigenous perspective because they're programmed not to hear it. They're programmed to ignore it or to act like it's not even there.
Yes, and I want to read a few more of Ice Not, because I think he responded to some of the things you said. He said, "I am a national and I am here to learn." So he wants you to know, even though he said that bias comment, he is a national and he is here to learn. Give Roger all my comments so he can informative comment. And I think I said that right. And then we've got Nicholas rang in and said, beautiful. Bob G said, colonial mindset when I was a kid and we played cowboys and Indians. I didn't want to be Indian because of the images forced on us by TV, white history, etc. When I was in my 40s, I found out that I am about half Native American and felt ashamed of my younger self. Nicholas says, beautiful. Nicholas says,
I'm 116 Vikings from Sweden. So I'm part white. I'm proud of it.
Right. And Chris Davis says, Roger, are you aware of an instrument that was used by the ancients for navigation similar to a sextant? If so, could you describe it? And I remember I was talking about a sextant as well.
It's called my ruler. You can do this. You can go trade routes that way, trade routes this way, trade routes north and south, trade route east and west. I mean, who needs a sextant?
No, and I think he's probably talking about, once you're out there. So here's the question,
The
maybe for
sextant
me.
that I have is a Zia symbol that has 16 radiating coming from a circle, and all those circles are mathematical numbers from 0 to 2600. You place it over your head and you point it to the North Star, and to the south, and then you can gauge where all of the directions are by mathematically knowing where 19.50 for east, 16.50 for west, 260 for north, 1300 for south, and so forth. And with that, you can navigate anywhere you want, which is, I guess, would be an indigenous sextant. I guess it would be.
Yeah, and that in a way, and I wish remind you to be on camera. At least I want to see you when you're talking to me. There you go. That I think that's what he was. I think that's what he was talking about. Is what tool or how did you use it while traveling and navigating, and you said Zia symbol. Is that what you said?
I think I might have one. Hold on, I'll show you real quick.
No. We don't think you're a racist. I hope you didn't take it that way. I'm just seeing your comment now. So am I? Oh no, you're not. Once again, it's understanding each other, man. We've been brought up we've been brought up under.
There's no racism involved because it's a learning process, and we're just all learning of each other. And I don't feel offended by anything that. Sometimes I think people think what I'm saying is racist, but it's not. It's just the truth. It's something that they needed to hear like 500 years ago to be realistic about it. Like I said, we've been too polite.
Yeah.
We've been so nice for 532 years that it costed us.
Yep. Yeah. Home costed you home, land, family. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. It's disgusting what has happened.
And they thought they were in India. And well, what can I do? Sorry, Chris, India's that way.
And don't get me wrong, man. I've heard, I know that they were rumbling about reparations, for my African American brothers and sisters, my black brothers and sisters. But I'm like, man, we need to get to our native brothers and sisters first. All right. So Roger is sharing with us.
I'm trying to get it leveled.
Yeah, no.
What is used, what I was talking about with the 26, where it says north and south. You place that over your head and you put the north to the North Star and the south to the bottom and the east to the west. And all of those numbers that you're looking at will all become mathematical numbers that you can navigate toward to by looking at the horizon, by looking at whatever star is in that position, whatever mountain might be in that position, whatever volcano might be in that position. And you just follow the lines, the alignment. Like north to south is an alignment, west to east is an alignment, northwest to southwest is an alignment. So, all of these can be used when you put it over your head to follow the directions by looking at the stars and the moon and the sun. And it's in coordination with my global mapping that you use the two together to navigate the globe. You got to understand the heavens to understand where you're traveling on the earth.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. It's so amazing how everything comes back to the stars. I can't even fathom. I love to look up at the stars, but I definitely could not be in, one of the native astronomers who had to sit there and watch or even look in my pool of water for the reflection of the stars to watch the movements, the eons, the thousands of years.
Look at my eyes from doing the work.
The thousands of years.
The stars.
Yes, man. I mean, just the amount of time of generation after generation of work put in to get this knowledge, to be able to navigate stars, to build temples and pyramids aligned to stars, and just amazing.
I can tell the public out there, all of the polygonal structures you're finding megalithic worldwide were created by my people to locate precious metals and precious stones. We got one in Tasmania that's called the tessellated pavement. There's also a polygonal floor that's located on the mesa above Skinwalker Ranch. They're worried about chasing a boogeyman around, and they got the biggest discovery on that mesa of a polygonal floor that's connected directly to the Muley Point Overlook, which is another polygonal floor, which has 990-ton blocks. And that
So
Muley Point goes over shiprock to help you go locate places of trade.
explain that to me and others a little bit further. Talk to me about these places and the rocks you just said.
Oh, the
The poles,
polygonal floor.
the polygonal floors.
It's the megalithic blocks that are set in. The modern man are thinking they're quarries. They even found one in the Riptach sculpture in Africa. But they're not quarries, but they are polygonal block structures that were set by my ancestors so that you could find certain latitudes and longitudes to find gold, silver, lapis, turquoise, or any other kind of precious stones. But anything where there was precious, we built megalithic structures, like, say, the Sage Wall is another one of them, which is connected to the Stone Wall in Colorado. They're in direct alignment with each other. Stone Wall takes you directly to an island in the Gulf of California that takes you to Teotihuacan. And then from Stone Wall, it takes you up to the Sage Wall. And like the polygonal floor at Skinwalker Ranch takes you to the polygonal floor at Muley Point Overlook at the Arizona-Utah border, which takes you down to Shiprock, which takes you to the ancient gold mines that were in southern New Mexico.
And tell me about these polygonal floors in the sense, are these something you see with the eyes? Are they buried? Is something protruding up? How are these locations,
They're bigger than a football field, and the blocks are about 900 tons down to 120 tons each. And there's probably hundreds of blocks sitting at the Muley Point Overlook that are sitting there. And I haven't gone to look at the one at Skinwalker Ranch yet because I've only got to see it from aerial photos, but I could tell it's a polygonal floor. There's another one at the 35th degrees latitude at Ecuadera or something down in near Santiago, Chile. And then the polygonal wall is also the same one that's at Gornaya Shuraya at 50 degrees latitude, is aligned to the polygonal floor that's at Mount Saskatchewan, which is also located at 52 degrees latitude. See how they're all connected?
Wow.
But people don't look at it that way because, they don't think that they're connected. But everything's connected in one way or another. Because from our point where we traded down, we went to the Quinault Wall in New Zealand. And from New Zealand, we went straight up and through to the Hong Kong ports. And then from the other place, Papua New Guinea, it took you right up into Altai, which is where the Altai Mountains are located. And what is located at the Altai Mountains? Gornaya Shuraya.
And something else that I think people might have missed is all the locations of where any gold can be mined, gold, silver, copper. The natives already know where all of those locations are. And if I'm not mistaken, your map actually, every one of those locations, would they fall in line with these latitude and longitude locations that you have mapped on your map, or?
Well, I'm not going to show it on here because, you know how people go gog over gold.
Yeah. Don't. It's just a question. It's a question.
I do have a chart that shows all the ancient gold mines of southern New Mexico and all the way going up into Nevada and even up into Oregon, which they call Tillamook gold. My family's trade was trading in gold. That was what we were all about. The Quinaults, everywhere we went, we were looking and trading in gold. No matter if we went to Tasmania, no matter if we went to Europe, no matter if we went to Siberia, no matter if we were going down into the Southwest, we were going to the ancient gold mines. We'd get the gold, and then we'd travel down south and trade it with Teotihuacan, down to Tumaco, down to Tiahuanaco, Pumapunka. And I feel bad for those people in South America. Some of those places do have gold mines, don't get me wrong. But a lot of the people that were being unjustly persecuted to find out where El Dorado was at, it was the gold that we traded with them for items that they had. And a lot of the gold came from up here in North America to South America. So a lot of the places weren't exactly El Dorados, and those poor native people were persecuted over that. I mean, there are El Dorados out there, don't get me wrong, but not all of the locations where they found gold was where gold can be found. They were there by trade. This network I'm showing you.
Yeah, and so hopefully people have captured that as well. Roger's ancestors and tribe were trading gold. That's what they did. So his ancestral knowledge of where the mining was occurring, where they were getting their gold from the north, from from the Americas, and they were trading it globally. Their
I even know
gold.
where the gold mines are located in Pakistan, Afghanistan, and all the way down toward Angkor Wat. I even know the locations for the European ancient gold mines, let alone the American.
And there you go. So once again, this all starts to tap into stuff. Roger, I wanted to ask you, and I don't want to lead us away from what we're doing, but one of my family's quests have been for Montezuma's treasure, and so what are the legends, or I should say, what is the oral history of your people being connected with the gold, trading with the Mexica, with the Aztecs? For those who don't know who the Mexica are, what is the information you have in regards to that? And I shared with you. So anyway, I will start
You
having
go
10 questions for one.
from Tenochtitlan, where they were taking their gold, they had to go all the way up to the coast near where the Acapulco area was at in order to get to Culiacan. Once they got to Culiacan, then they went to Guaymas. And from Guaymas, then you could find your way directly all the way up to the Babakibri mountain range, which is at 110 degrees longitude. Between Guaymas and Babakibri, it's pointing to northern Utah, to an area north of the Uinta Basin by Skinwalker Ranch, to be the location of Aztlan. The Aztecs were taking the gold back to where they originally were trading it for when they were the Pima people, when they were in northern Utah. They took it up back to northern Utah for where they originally came from, and that's what they remembered. And so that's why they were bringing it back up here to the north, to where they were gold traders themselves, and they were the gold miners before they went down south to become an empire.
Amazing info. And we slightly touched on yesterday, Montezuma. I was sharing with you, my family's belief that Montezuma basically, never died, in Mexico, and that in fact, we believe that he made his way back up north. And do your ancestors, do your elders have any information on that? Because like I said, there's no monuments in Mexico for Montezuma. There's no place that they say he died here and we have erected this monument. There's no place that's even rumored that he is, died from being hit in the head by Mexica people or the Spanish.
Well, what I can tell you is that you're right about him not dying, but it's in a different way. If you take 600, and I think it was 676, if I remember the number right, which is the birth of Pakal and Palenque, and you add 260 to that, it'll take you to 946. And what was in 946? That was the birth of Quetzalcoatl in 946. Then you take 260 and add that to that 946, it takes you to 1206, which takes you to Eotoy, which is the guy I was talking to you about at the Babakibri mountain range, which is in southern Arizona, which is another reincarnation of Quetzalcoatl. Now you take the 1206 and you add 260 to that, guess where it takes you, Dan? 1466. The reincarnation of Quetzalcoatl was a guy named Montezuma after Iatoy. They all come in increments of 260 years, just like the birth and the death of a nation. It's the birth of the Red Messiahs from 676 to 946 to 1206 and finally to 1466, the birth of Montezuma II. So indirectly, you were right. He didn't die. He reincarnated, and he's going to reincarnate again in the future in 2037, which is the first year of one read or the first year of the first heaven cycle coming up.
Wow, and you had made mention that Montezuma changed the date, or he had changed some dating. Can you give us some understanding on that? Of why he did that, and exactly how that affects the keeping of time, and what you know to be true about all that, and what that means for us.
Masika could verify this for me. Verified it, or the year for verified it at 13 was a year called One Rabbit. One Rabbit was the worst year you could have with famine, drought, and everything you could imagine would go on during that One Rabbit year. It was coming up during Montezuma's time, and what he needed to do was he was trying to change destiny because what his medicine people told him is that at the end of this 52-year cycle, it was going to be the end of the Aztec Empire. And he figured if he changed the date from one rabbit to two reed, which is the number for Tetzalcoatl, or Huitzilopochtli, the god of war, whatever they were into then, he switched it over thinking he could change destiny. It didn't change a thing. In 52 years, the Aztec Empire still fell. In 52 years, Montezuma was gone. It didn't change a thing.
Right, he didn't, but apparently somehow you have this information that he attempted to change it, thinking that would change destiny. Part of me doesn't want to believe, because my belief is Montezuma was a super spiritual guy, and maybe it could have been some other elders or other lords, so to speak, or people
And he's
around
the
him.
first trouble, but my elders told me that he was a corrupt leader, and that's why he was assassinated. They didn't say he was killed. They said he was assassinated. These are the elders saying this, not any white anthropologists or archaeologists. And if you talk to a Tono Autumn about their legends, it's even documented in their books about their oral history. A mean ruler is assassinated. And that's when I figured out the reincarnation cycle, because that's when I figured that Montezuma was connected to Iatoy, and Iatoy was connected to Quetzalcoatl, and Quetzalcoatl was connected to Pakal, and down the line, all the way to the beginning of time, practically.
Right.
But
But does it specifically say Montezuma, or they say a corrupt king? Just because, I've
they said
had.
Montezuma, and I hate to tell you this, they said Montezuma. He was corrupt. He was like Quetzalcoatl, but he was like Waymak. I don't know if you're familiar with Waymak and the Toltec. He was the last Toltec leader before it collapsed. He was corrupt too. And then the Toltec Empire collapsed.
Wow.
Waymak was a reincarnation of Montezuma too. But Waymak died and the empire died with him. Toltecs were no more. As a matter of fact, Teotihuacan was run by the Olmecs. The Olmecs tried to run and try to take over our Chinook global trade network. Kind of pissed us off, so us Chichimecas went down there and burnt the place to the ground and closed shop. And then thousands of years later, they came back up to Chaco Canyon and through Pacaimi and the Mimbres and decided to take over the Southwest People's Trade Zone from 29 to 39 degrees latitude. And they're redirecting all of the global trade to Chaco Canyon. That's why they're building all those stupid roads, to divert all the global trade to them and not to us in Tillamook. So we had to come down, and then we burned Chaco down and closed down shop there too, because they got too big for their britches. And somebody had to take care of it. So we had to take down Teotihuacan, we had to take down Chaco. I even think we're the sea people that took down the Hittites and were ready to take down the Egyptians because they screwed up our global trade route. We were those mysterious sea people that invaded Egypt and almost took over all of Europe because they pissed us off about killing the people in the Azores and the Canary Islands because those were our trade diplomats and representatives, and they took them into slavery. And it ended the trade system to go through the Mediterranean. And we cut out the white man after that. We never traded through the Mediterranean after that. We would just go as far as we could to, India and go around. Those people in Europe are crazy. You don't want to go there.
Man.
We avoided going through there after that point because it wasn't worth it. And that's why they're disconnected with this global trade system, because they're not included in it, because they wrote themselves out of the book. I mean, if you really look at it realistically, Mount Babakiri Mountain is at 31 degrees latitude. And then you have another mountain called Mount Kailash in India, which is run by Lord Shiva, which is also located at 31 degrees latitude on the same global line longitude. Now you look at Eotoi, he was the creator of mankind, the Alpha. Then you go to the other side of the world at 31 degrees where Shiva is located and Kailash, and what does he represent? The destroyer of worlds, the Omega. One side is the Alpha, the other is the Omega. And they're both located at the same latitudes and the same global line. And they're the same holy mountains. But nobody knows that either, not even the people in India.
That's deep, man. That's deep. And once again, cosmic information you are sharing.
Yeah, nobody's ever known this knowledge anywhere in the world before because I'm the only one that knows it. I am the source. There is nobody before me. I mean, I'm the last one that has this knowledge. And when I almost died, that's when I went into a panic and I got a hold of you and said, I need to get this documented and protected and get it preserved and get it out there because, I mean, waiting for my native people, I could die between here and then, and they might not even come around. So I said, man, I don't have time anymore. I just got to just get it out there. And the people that are meant to hear it will be there. And the people that aren't, they're not going to be there. You know, if I offended anyone, I'm sorry. But this is the way it really is, you know. And I mean, how do you define racism nicely? Tell me. Tell me, how do you explain racism in a nice way? Explain to me how you can do that. There is no way. Racism is ugly.
Yes, agreed. And like you said, a majority of it was done, 500 years ago. It's continued because people have been programmed and given, what I say is everyone is prejudiced. They have prejudged, and a lot of that prejudging has been based off of course, what the family they grew up in or the community they grew around in, and what were they
Come on, Dan. Social programming.
Yes, that's what it is. And
it's not education; it's social programming.
Yes, yeah, on a global scale, because they, whoever they are, would like to keep everyone divided as well too, and they would like to keep everyone. Go ahead.
And Indian business is big business worldwide and globally for everyone in the world that has to do with Indian business. Indian business is big for everybody but Indians. Everybody makes money out of us, though.
Right. No, but that's a sad truth. That's what I'm hoping that will be captured in the midst of everything. Is if everyone would just go take a look at the world scene, and still today, when other people have a seat at the table, matter of fact, I'd say everyone has a seat at the table except the natives. That has got to tell you something. I mean, so once again, we've already.
You know what UN stands for? It stands for unfinished business until we have a native representative in the United Nations. Unfinished UN.
Yeah, and I'm with you, man, because it's true. And for some reason, they have excluded the natives. And
They want the land, which in other words, it can make them a quick buck. Isn't it the American way? Fast money in any way you can. Isn't that capitalism defined to a T? You would sell your grandma to make a buck. That's America.
Yeah,
America.
yeah,
I call it America. I don't call it America no more. America.
yeah.
Where's America? I don't know. It's
Uh,
next to. It's
I'm
called
gonna I'm gonna read
UK.
some of these comments to make sure I'm not missing nothing from anybody. Nicholas, at one point, Joseph said, "Omi Octal." Nicholas said, "Original Phoenicians." Joseph said, "One rabbit." These are some comments that were happening, earlier when we were talking, so I can't tell you exactly what part it was from. Nicholas says, "Get that book written." Aaron says, "Thank you, Roger. Much gratitude."
You're welcome.
Um, Nicholas says, "No offense, racism is not nice. America is the paradigm holding it up." Nicholas says, "War still is waged." And Nicholas says, Merca, maybe he means Merca. I don't know.
Listen, I'm from Albuquerque, America.
um,
Well, you know what America really is? It's Amaru Ka. Amaru Ka means it's the land of the serpent. It's not from America Vespucci or whatever Pinocchio's grandfather's name was. It was named after the land of the serpent, Amaru Ka, a South American word which became America in the end.
wow, wow. There's so much that us Americans, even of native descent, don't know. We don't know. We have been so disconnected from our indigenous
My
source.
own tribe doesn't take me seriously, Dan. That makes me sad. I mean, my bloodline and hereditary, I own all of this global trade network, not the tribal council. Me by bloodline and hereditary and blood. I am the boss of this trade network, not my tribal council in Quinault. They were created by the white man to get whatever the white man needed. That's not has anything to do with our traditional leadership that was born into it and got it through hereditary. My mother's side, my dad's side, my great grandfather's side, they're all connected to the gold trade globally.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how honored I am, brother, that you reached out to me, and that we have formed this connection. I'm gonna go back and read because it looks like I missed someone's. It looks like I missed Bob's comment because he's telling me to go back to it. Bob said earlier, "I just had a strange vision. Those empty door frames carved into rock walls that people say are portals. The vision showed me they originally had a curved dome like structure mounted vertically in front of them to reflect the sounds of the chants needed to open the portal. They were made of gold and quartz crystal, something about achieving resonance." And then Bob says, "Not a chant, think of Mongolian throat singing." So he's making that comment. I think that's what he wanted me to share with you because he says, "Please ask Roger about my vision." See
Your
what he
portal
says.
theory is right, but portals can be anywhere, even in nature, let alone, But not all false doors are portals. If you follow a false door from any location in Peru or even the ones that are in Africa that they're finding in Ethiopia and all of that, if you and it hasn't been moved, just follow a straight alignment from that door. It'll take you to your next trade partner or to the next trade area that you need to go to. The doors are really set, and the windows and the walls and Chaco and the T-shaped windows, they're all aligned to trade zones so that we could find each other for trade. And the most important was the equinox, the solstice markers. Why? On the winter solstice, we traded globally for one reason. During the winter season, it was less likely to have hurricanes and cyclones on the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. So we do global trade at the 40-degree latitude globally during the winter solstice. Summer solstice, it was local trade from the local people. So it was kind of set up that way. That's why everybody has equinox and solstice markers in all their communities because they were set up to find each other for trade. We just followed the solstice to the next trade partner.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I want to make sure to share this. I Snot, who you guys were sharing some things back and forth. He says, Roger, I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for being here. I appreciate all of you for being here. Like I said, if you're here, you are meant to be here. Spirit puts you here to listen to what I have to say. I don't care if that it's not a million people. What I care about is getting to each person on an individual basis that matters. And the people that matters are the people that Spirit put here to listen to what I have to say. And if you're open-minded to accept. Because once you accept it, then we're not trying to be better than the white man, the yellow, or the white man. We're just trying to be at the same eye level to being equal because we've been so put way down on this thing that the other two races are way up here and way down here. We just want to be an equal. We don't want to be better than you. We don't even want to take your land away from you or the cities and all of that, We'd be happy if you just gave us the national parks and left our reservations alone, and we'd call it good. We're not greedy like the other three races where we want to take over every country we find, or if we don't get it, we're going to bomb and nuke the heck out of you. I mean, is that supposed to be intelligent behavior? I mean, they told me they were intelligent. They told me that quit being a savage and be like them. And now that I'm here, I don't know if I want to be like them. I don't want to. I don't want to take over anybody's land. I don't want to take anybody's country over. I mean, that's too civilized for me. It's so civilized, it's giving me a
headache. Amen to that, brother. I am with you. Chris Davis is saying, I would like to hear more about when you were talking about one rabbit, the cycles. Can you go more in depth about the smaller time cycles?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's two bad moments in the 260-day calendar. One is the rabbit, and the other one is the monkey. The monkey sign, I can explain real easy. There's two monkeys. It's like two sides of a coin, and the same thing with those dates. When you get to those dates, there's that monkey that you go to the circus, and then they entertain you, and they make you laugh, and they do all kind of silly things, right? But then there's a flip side of the coin, where you go and see that same chimpanzee monkey, but it's the other side of the coin, where it'll come at you and holler at you as loud as it can and rip the face right off of your head. And and then throw Tootsie Rolls at you after that. That's the monkey sign. The same thing for the rabbit sign. Rabbit sign is a sign for addictive issues, and addictive issues just doesn't have to do with alcohol and drugs. Addictive issues also come into something really important: being addicted to power. And that's where modern man is messing up on. I mean, we're having a problem with alcoholism in our native world, and we're having a problem with drugs. But at least we're not addicted to power like the other civilized nations that are addicted to power right now. Because being addicted to power, you can kill millions of people if you're not careful.
Yeah, agreed. Chris, let's see. Question from I Snot. Question: has Roger ever spoken with Graham Hancock?
Why? It's a waste of my time. I talked to every Indian expert in the world, and they ignored me, from Graham Hancock to Brian Forster to Randall Carlston. Every white person I ever contacted ignored me like nobody's business. There was only one person named Carl Crusher who accepted me on one of his shows, and there's only one other person that accepted me on his show. Dan here on this show right now. It's a waste of my time to talk to Graham Hancock. I could prove all of his theories with all of my charts if he would just break the racism and talk to us natives, but he's too busy talking to other non-native Indian experts like I was complaining about earlier. It's the echo chamber where they go to the cosmic summit and they listen to each other like an echo chamber, talk about all the misinformation to non-Indian, to non-Indian, to non-Indian, to non-Indian, but they never involve the native people. Has Graham Hancock bothered to come out and talk to us natives? No. Has Brian Forster come out bothered to talk to us natives? No. Has Brandon Fugal bothered to come out to talk to us natives? No. There's my point. So why waste my time? I'd rather talk to normal people like Dan and you and the people that are out here than waste my time on these Indian experts that are out there, because they ignore me anyway. And like I said, I'm not here to convince the Western world about anything. Their colonial mindset is already made. So it's a waste of my time to try to convince Graham Hancock or anything about anything that's going on here. And I don't have time to waste. I mean, I almost died 3 months ago already. Am I going to sit around and wait for a white guy to prove what I have to show? That's stupid.
Well, I would hope that maybe they get the message and actually care to speak with an amazing individual like you, Roger, and that you would be open, to still talking to them, even if it took them, 500 years to want to come talk to you.
I got so many things that I could demystify. A lot of the things, including the Yanaguni Wall and all these other things, if they would just put their racism aside and come talk to us natives. If you want to talk to me personally, get a hold of Dan. And he knows how to get a hold of me. We're not hiding from anyone, but we're not exactly going to be pandering to tourists to try to convince you that we're right. Because all I'm going to get is arguments and fights, and then I'll have every troll in the world on my ass after that online. I don't want that.
Right.
I want people that are going to listen to me and accept what I have to say and say, okay, I like what he had to say, and maybe it could add something to your life and how you see things and how you see us as people, as Native people.
Yeah. Yep. And we are going to, I don't know if you want to scoot over a little, and then we could both be on the frame. But we probably just need to get to producing some things together, creating some content together, and start getting more of this stuff out there. Because, like you said, you almost transitioned. The world would have lost a hell of wisdom, a hell of important wisdom that needs to be shared. I don't care if some people think that it's not valuable information. It is. And you're the last keeper of the records of your family lineage of the ancients that go back 300,000 years or more. And so it's vital, brother. So I just want to say that somehow, some way, we will start doing some stuff together to put together some
alliance between Chicano and natives to make productions on that level, which would be a great thing, because we have a production company as well with Colleen. If we could maybe team up, and then make things work from there.
And we'll start producing some stuff, man. Whether it's short form documentaries and content to help to continue to get this wisdom out there, to get your message out there. I think it's important that people hear what you've got to say. I've got some other.
We need to re-educate, which is the part that we have where we come in.
Yeah, and I want to say it again. Tonight is all about re-indigenizing the mind, and that's what Roger and Colleen are all about. We got some more comments here. Chris Davis, he's a bud of mine. I met him at the Moon Lake conference. Matter of fact, shoot, the boys who put that on need to invite you down there. Chris said, Roger, we are friends on Facebook. I am interested in knowing more about the time cycles, and could you send me a picture of the circle? I think he wants your Zia symbol, if I'm not mistaken. I guess he's saying the circle for navigating stars.
From the navigating from the North Star to the south.
He says he's friends with you on Facebook. Maybe he friended you and you accepted him.
So who you are on my Facebook and remind me, and then I could send you a copy.
There you go. So Chris, hit him up, send him a message.
Because if he has, send me the latitude and the longitude you're at, and I could create a special chart just for your area. There you go.
Because there are lots of things for us to go find. I'm telling you right now, Roger, I'm going to get a few of the boys together who are treasure hunting and all that stuff, and you would be a marvelous super addition to that team too, just to go out there and go to some of these spots and uncover some stuff together. Chris also says, I believe the chosen people would never be associated with the United Nations, and that's exactly why the natives are not. And I believe the chosen people would never be associated with the United Nations, and that's exactly why the natives are not involved. I think he's saying that in a positive way, meaning that
Right now, it's not that. It's that we're not a corporate nation. That place is only intended for corporate nations, not for indigenous nations. Corporate nations are meant to plunder us to get our resources so they can get rich. That's why we're not included in there. They don't want to know what they're planning to do to us.
Wow.
Unfinished business. UN stands for unfinished business till you get native involved.
Well, and I'm going to say this right now. They've got no power. And in fact, all divine power is protection of the natives, and things are going to change. Cosmic cycle is here. Things are changing, whether people who don't want it to happen, it's going to happen. But it'll be a good for everyone who is good.
Change is going to happen in 2037, and if we do it right, it's going to unite all the races to become one people. If we do it wrong, it's the gourd of ashes.
Yeah. I would hope a majority of existence of humans, at least, we'll just speak for this realm. I have to believe in my heart that if conditions were changed, a lot of greed, a lot of greed really would disappear, and that we can get to that golden age. And I believe it's prophesized that we're going to get there.
I could already tell you, 2036 is the last year of this hell cycle. 2037 is the first year of the heaven cycle. It hasn't failed yet since the beginning of time. Why should it fail now?
Right. So everyone be ready for right when the cosmic clock strikes 13.
And in 2024 and 25, the drones ours are going up, but they're going up to check out the divine entities that are coming down.
Yes.
2025, informal contact.
Love it. Someone says, let's see. Joseph Trujillo says, can't wait to learn more. Thank you. Nicholas Burnett, thanks Dan and Roger. Ice Not said more thumbs up. So he's giving us more thumbs up.
If people really want to go and to understand what I'm doing with these charts, on the third Sunday of February, which I'm working out with Colleen, she's going to help me with that because it helps me with the technical side of it. I'm doing a Patreon workshop for $15 for every month for a year. Every month, I'm going to present one chart and explain all the history of it. The next month, another chart and the whole history behind it. The third month, another chart and all the history behind it. I got 35 charts.
Wow. Yeah. So what's your so basically his YouTube is Re-Indigenizing Minds, right? That's your YouTube page. Your website.
We're at Re-Indigenizing Minds on Patreon.
On Patreon.
But we're working on getting a website within a month or two.
Yeah. Well, Colleen, I thought, sent me something. All right. Well, maybe I'm tripping. I thought there was a website. Maybe that was your Patreon. I don't know. But find Roger on Patreon. Support what he's doing. That it would be awesome that my followers, people,
state, tribal, county, city. We have no support from any of them, which doesn't bother me the least bit. But what I would like to have support from is people support. I want to get this to people. When I take this to tribes, I don't want to be presenting this in a kiva. I don't want to be presenting this in an arbor. I don't want to be presenting it in a closed area where only certain select people get to hear it. If I'm taking this to a tribe, I want it to be shown in a public forum where children and families can be allowed to come in, and people that are just normal tribal members can come in, and just not a select few get to hear this and get to hide it. I want the public to know this. So if tribes do invite me, I want to go to a public forum, not to your kivas, not to your arbors, not into your sacred places. I want a public forum where I could talk to your tribal members, and they're not chairmen or not. I just want children, women, men, teenagers, just normal people. We're not getting anywhere with these agencies. I mean, how far are we getting on disclosure so far? Disclosure isn't going to come from the government. Disclosure is going to come from the star people and from us more than the government. They've been lying to the American people since 1776. They've been lying about the UFOs for 80 years and still lying.
Right.
That's one thing about America is good at. It's good at lying. You know,
Right. And
they need to
and
read
the
the commandments. You know what the
and
three
the
Native commandments are?
huh.
Don't steal, don't lie, don't be lazy. You don't need 10 commandments. They can't even follow 10. I broke it down to 3. Let's see if you can follow 3 commandments if you can't follow 10. Don't steal, don't lie, don't be lazy. The
Man.
Native commandments. You don't
Well,
need 10.
words of wisdom. If everyone could just do that, if
Well, at
everyone
least
could.
quit lying.
Right.
They're lying about me. They're lying about my people. They're lying about this knowledge. They're lying about the history of America. I mean, that's why I had to come out of the mothballs and out of the woodworks and come out from under my rock. It was
Yeah.
getting that bad. I'm going, oh
Well,
my God, this
you
is
know,
worse than Blazing Saddles.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a kid, and it was off the hook crazy to me as a kid.
And
I
all the trees were in it, even the
huh?
racism.
Yeah.
That all the trees were in it, including the racism.
um, I need to plan because I used to do a conference. I don't know if you know this, but I have a theater. I run a theater here in the Bay Area, and I used to have the UFO X Fest conference, and I also had the Quest for Truth conference. 2 conferences. I just haven't done them forever, but more and more, I'm thinking that I need to do one, and I would love to have you, obviously be a guest at that. Um, I'm also doing some preliminary working on doing a conference in southern Utah, in the Kanab area at the historic Redstone Theater.
It's pretty
So
out there.
so, huh?
I said that Kanab area is real pretty.
Oh, it's real pretty and real sacred as well. So, and there's some places I want to take you actually that we discuss. I don't want to say none of that here, but where some of your alignments and latitude and longitude confirmed. And I would love for us to get together and also have some kind of conference out there. Hopefully, my friends Mark and Terry would be interested in having you at Moon Lake. I think there's definitely natives out there. Besides that, I think even the white people and everyone in between would appreciate the knowledge that you have to share, man.
Well,
Um,
Dan, I heard on one of their shows, which really struck me, was when I heard a non-native come up in front and say, "The treasure isn't the gold. The treasure is the knowledge that we're getting from what we're learning about the ancients. That's the real treasure." That
yes,
changed my opinion about that meeting they had out there when I heard that coming from a non-native. I was impressed. I said, "Wow, did I just hear what I thought I heard? It's not the gold we're after; it's the knowledge."
yes, and that's what my family has been about. It's
Made
the
my jaw
ancient
drop.
wisdom, huh?
Made my jaw drop when I heard that. They're finally growing up. They're understanding it's not about the gold. I'm going to tell you about the real gold if you really want to know. The
Sure.
real gold is the nugget because you can't throw it in the water and boil it up and turn it into a soup. The real gold is a kernel of corn. You could eat it, you could plant it, and you can grow into plants to feed entire tribes and build empires. And you can't eat gold nuggets. You can't turn it into gold nugget soup. You can't make gold nugget bread.
Or tortillas.
The real gold is the corn to make tortillas. That's the
Man,
real gold. And
I,
this is the
I,
point about the real
I
gold.
yeah, I would trade my gold for corn any day, especially if we got, if living off the land, getting closer back to nature. Poof,
Because
corn is gold,
you know what Quetzalcoatl represented when it comes to gold?
huh?
He was the white corn with the yellow tassels.
Mm.
Quetzalcoatl.
Ah, good stuff. Good stuff. He is fighting the same. I got a few messages here. Okay, so let me say this. I'm gonna need from you, Roger, your Patreon thing. I think it's even on my little graphic, right? With the QR code. Does that lead to it?
Yeah, and I think my Patreon is on that clip I sent you with the astronomy. That
Okay.
28 has all the addresses on it.
Is that the video that we didn't get to?
Yeah. But
Well, you know what? Hold on. Let me attempt to actually pull it up. Is it towards the end? Where is all that stuff listed? In the beginning?
It's at the beginning. I don't know if you want to. If people want to, you can play the whole thing because that has to do with astronomy, and I could show them how to read an Aztec year count and call it good after that.
Yeah. Well, it's you know, a lot of people were because we've been on now for 3 hours and 5 minutes. Not that I got a problem with that, because we've been crazily going damn near 4 hours every one of these. But I want to pull it up at least so that people have that information, because some are asking for your information.
It's at the beginning then. If you go at the beginning,
so I want to say this. One, you can reach out to me, and I will message me, email me, dandillman.com, through Facebook, YouTube, whatever. I will send you Roger stuff. If you just want to get it from me, I'll get it from Roger, and I will respond to you immediately. I want folks to support this man and his mission. Secondly, I am going to attempt to hit play on the beginning of this video, so that you guys can see it as well. But it is like a 30-minute video. So I think we're kind of wrapping up. So let's just do
the information for contact for the Patreon. Then we could do the astronomy on another.
Yeah, well, man, we shall just do another day, and we'll make that
whole 3 hours just this alone.
Yes. All right. So let me hit this button here. I believe it is screen share. So I'm going to hit this.
There it is.
And what I'm doing here, folks, is we will do another show where this is. Whoops. Am I closing the right?
Indigenous astronomy using 13.
Why is it? Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. Here we go. And we basically want to get to the part right there. Is that it right there? No.
Go in a little bit more and then it'll show it.
We just want you folks to be able to see his Patreon information. We will do another podcast with Roger, and we will
I think it's after this decipherment.
What's that?
I think it might be after this decipherment that's going on here, I think.
All right, here, let me try to...
Right there. So you can see.
There we go.
Patreon.com, Re-Indigenizing Minds, right in the bottom.
So there we go. So if you guys can see that, that is Roger's Patreon. Once again, what I will do, if for some reason you don't have time to capture it, or if you've already left, or if you haven't, I am absolutely going to have this info, and I will share it with you. I will even make a few posts about just sharing it in general on my Facebook and whatnot. So
that's a members bowl that's on this picture that's on the ad right here. The face, that's a members face with a serpent underneath it that nobody's ever seen before. A deciphered members bowl.
Yeah, I want that. I want us to talk about that. We've got two major things to talk about. Is your deciphering of the ancient symbols, and then of course this video that will take us on another path as well. But let's just save it for next time. I just want to read a few things. Let's go back to me and you. That should be us. Let's see some comments. He is fighting the same crap Graham is, so I think he's saying. Ice snot is based. Yeah. You hear that, ice snot? You're right.
We're fighting the same battle. We're trying to fight the academics.
And then ice snot says I should be a diplomat. I guess that's I'll let you explain that to me, but I received it as a positive comment. Love this channel. We love you. Thank you so much. Price Productions, great channel for sure. Ice Not, he's responding. Thank you, Price Productions. Thumbs up, please. And then for Dan, something, I don't know. More likes we get, more people will see the videos and we'll get to keep growing. And that's it. We're asking people, I just started this, asking people to like it, comment, do all those things that help the algorithm share this with.
Don't forget to share this video as well. When we're done with this program, click the share and send it to as many friends or family that might be interested in knowing it. That's another way to do it.
Yes, thank you. Please share the video. I'm going to be creating a bunch of shorts, as some of you may have seen from the previous shows. I will create shorts from this show as well, so that we'll get shorter clips of Roger and I sharing this information, mostly Roger. And so we'll get those out there. So please share. Please tell your friends, tell your family, tell whoever's interested in lost treasure, ancient mysteries, ancient wisdom, and so much more. The paranormal, the unexplained, that's something, very cool that we're doing, and that we hope that you'll join us, because then you'll get to meet amazing ancient wisdom keepers like Roger. Roger.
Our Indigenous astronomy presentation.
Yeah, so the next one, Indigenous astronomy. Dude, it's a super, I can't even tell you. I want to hug you. I want to tell you thank you. I'm considering you an older brother now, so I've adopted you, whether or maybe you've adopted me. Actually, huh?
Way older. I'm 70, so I could be an older brother.
Man, no. What are you talking about? I'm 150. No, I'm the one getting the Social Security checks. No, no. But like I said, man, I believe we made a connection for eternity, not just this life, but hopefully we were friends in the previous realms, and we'll be friends forever. So much to learn from you. I'm humbled.
You're going to do the connection to get this to the Mexica people, then they'll understand what I was talking about when I'm talking about one rabbit and all of this, because they're going to go, oh, he knows exactly what he's talking about.
Right.
And Mexica would be the people that
would know this and connect with it and connect with what you're saying.
Might even run with it, all we know.
Is there anything else that you want to share with everyone before we go? Because of course I was just.
I'd like to thank everybody for being here tonight. I know I get loud and obnoxious, but I'm not attacking any particular race. I'm not even nice to my own race. When I'm talking about Native people, I tell us to get off our lazy red asses to do our own homework and research and quit allowing foreigners to define who we are. So nobody gets away with me, not even my own. That's why I guess I'm not popular in the Native world. I tell them too. So nobody gets away. I'm not attacking just white people. I'm attacking everybody equally.
That's right.
People. But I guess that's why they get a little bent about me, because a lot of my Native people, and I love my Native culture, my Native people, but we're so assimilated and so socially programmed that some of our tribes were brown, but we think white. And it's sad because I see it. And I see how it's starting to erode our communities because we're losing our Native values or our morals, as you would say. And now we're getting greedy as the next American and trying to make a quick buck and taking advantage of people and robbing people and lying and breaking all of those 3 commandments I just told you. And then claiming to be Native, and then you go, that's not Native. I know some white people that would make great natives, and I met some natives that would make great rednecks. I mean, what's worse than a white redneck? A red one.
All right, so don't steal, don't lie, and don't be lazy. Man,
there you go.
Ancient,
that's our whole plan for life.
Ancient wisdom to change your whole life.
You don't even have to go to a church or a building to do it. You just got to practice it every day. You know what I mean?
I
You don't
love
need
it,
an
man.
excuse to go to church to make you feel guilty as hell that you're going to go to hell. No,
Right.
you
Well,
just remind those 3 rules and you're good. If we got the whole world to do that, it'd be a different world.
yes, it would. Yes, it would. And guess what? I believe it, man. I'm holding on. I'm holding on. I can't expect anyone else, but I'm
I am
holding
too,
on.
but I'm holding on.
Yeah. Well, and thank you, man. Like I said again, a lot of us have been lost. A lot of us, even our own family, depending on, I can only speak for my own experience. We're lost and lost a connection to some of our deep indigenous roots, and we didn't have
That's right.
anyone around to re-indigenize our minds, dude. Thank you for being
You're
here.
welcome.
Thank you.
I started realizing it when I realized that the children of La Llorona was the metaphor for being lost, and all we need to do was help my relatives to be found again. Because all we're doing is we're trying to go home by 2037. What is
That's it.
home? Back to being who we really were before we were so rudely interrupted.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we need to go through I'm just going to say it. Sometimes we need to go through some real hard shit to realize that, how good we can have it, and to be, to have gone through something really bad so that we can appreciate and be grateful.
Sometimes you got to go through hell to get to heaven.
There you go. Said far better than what I was trying to say. That's it, man. So there's got to, even though it's horrible, there's got to be this cosmic reason that this is all unfolded the way it has been. And we can say for decisions that have been made by groups of folks, but in the end, I trust the cosmos. And
yes, we're all going home, and all 4 races are going back home, and that's where we're headed right now.
yes, because we were all one. Let's end this like we started it. We truly are one people. Just
Remember,
like there's,
we all bleed red, no matter what color our skin. We're all equal.
Yes. And other ideas I like to share is we're all like flowers. Flowers are many shapes and many colors, but they're flowers. We're all humans, brothers and sisters, many shades and many different colors, but
And
we are one. Yes.
Diversity is the key. There's nothing wrong with diversity. Diversity is what America is all about. It's our differences that are going to be our strength, but we don't realize it yet.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. All right. I want to, once again, please reach out to me so I can share with you Roger's Patreon so you can know how to find him. And find him.
I'll send the Patreon to your email when I get off.
That'd be great. And I'll share that again. Find him on YouTube. And I'm going to have him here again. And don't be surprised, people, if I have some videos coming out where Roger is breaking it down and we start creating some great content to share with the world. I know that's part of my mission is to help re-indigenize minds, mine included, along with others. So,
and listeners should be aware of one other thing too, besides my YouTube channel, my Patreon.
Yeah.
Your audience is the first people to receive this knowledge in your audience.
Honored, and I hope my friends and followers here are as grateful as I am, and they are. They're saying thanks, Roger. Thanks, Roger. David Plus of 411. Stop. Sorry, Ice Not. He says stop saying white. I don't know. Listen, you guys have already said.
I'm gonna say, you people of the Anglo persuasion.
We've already made up. We're all in love.
Okay, let's call it what it is. Euro-American immigrants. If you don't want white, Euro-American immigrants. That's
Lord.
what you're defined as. If you're not white, you're a Euro-American immigrant. And that means you're not from here. So somebody tell Trump to get us off of making us not citizens, because if anybody that's not a citizen, it's that guy with the orange hair who came from Scotland.
Well, I will say this. I feel like I swear when you said something to me before, and we'll end this, so we'll end this shortly here. But I felt motivated to write to Trump just to say, hey, I don't know, what's going on or what's not going on, but please consider having a conversation with the natives and speak with them and listen to them, and who knows, maybe he just hasn't had the right person come speak to him and in spirit speak through that native to speak to him.
He doesn't know the 3 commandments.
Well, you might be right, but someone's got to tell.
You got to know those 3 commandments.
If no one tells him, then so we've got to tell him. We got to share. Anyway,
we indigenize. It's the same thing. We educate because it was life.
Yeah.
And you got to re-educate them to bring them back to where they were when they were in the natural state, when we followed the natural laws of the universe, and we didn't make up this man-made world that we're living in with this man-made time, man-made reality. Yes. That's not even real.
Right.
When the sun and the stars are the real natural order of things.
Yes. The system is make-believe. There's no doubt about it. Some people aren't ready to hear that and understand what that means, but it's really what you're saying. The system.
Countries come and go, lands forever.
Yes. The stars, the land, and the true natural way to live
goes on.
Yes. All right, everyone.
Go
ahead. Huh?
Whether we're there or not, life goes on.
Yes, exactly. All right, well, that's it. I like thank you, Roger. Thank you. And Colleen, if you're watching or if you hear this, we're sorry that you did not make it tonight, but we're going to do it again, and hopefully you'll make it so that you can share a lot of your wonderful information as well. Again, I just want to tell everyone watching and listening, we are one people on one world, in one solar system, in one galaxy, in one universe, in one cosmos. And we need to figure it out how to love and care for each other and to respect each other. So until we meet again somewhere deep within the cosmos, God bless everyone. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Geraldine Orozco, and I will post all of Roger's stuff so that you can please support him and follow him, and we'll be back.
Thank you all for being out there, and thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure being your teacher today. Class dismissed.
Good night. All right, let's see here. I should be able to do this. Roger, stick with me.